Never before have we had greater face a complex, rapidly changing world. Think of it a moment.
It is a world in which supersonic speeds are commonplace. It is a world that has seen the coming of the atomic bomb. It has seen the rise of the total state, the dictator, and the mass man. It is a world of new sensations, new excitements, new distractions.
So much to be learned by so many in so little time.
And I suppose you're here with no agenda, as per usual?
On the contrary, I'm here for comics.
How's your comic book collection, Brody?
Oh, it's going good, but I've been...
The
I think
Spider-Man.
so far I have.
Yeah, well, they're incredible, right? I keep going back to the solo one, but anyway, yeah. So the Spider-Man one is the only one I don't have. I couldn't find a pre-order anywhere. I had it on TIFA, and so I went, okay, that one I know I'm gonna have to like get up early. Everybody's gonna want that one. It's Patrick Gleason. He's the man.
Yeah.
So I thought it was this week, and I went, okay. I got up like
No,
really
it's
early, went to
Next
the
week
gym
or the
and
week
everything.
after.
Yep. So that's why I went to the LCS the other day when I talked to you about the Dan Mora variants. And I
Yeah,
was like,
you were
oh,
way earlier than usual.
because I went there right when the store opened. I got everything done, and I'm walking through the. Okay, I was there 5 minutes after it opened, and I'm walking like on the shelves, and I'm going, where are they? Because I wanted that one, and there's a Doom's Division, like one of those like the tie-ins to the One World Under. Doom.
Oh yeah. I
Don't
know what you're
care.
talking about.
Don't care about that. But there is the. Peach Momoko did that like Karma from like the New Mutants cover I've shown off before, where she's doing like the big pink like explosion.
Yeah,
So I wanted that. I want that cover. So I go into the shop and I'm going through this.
has nothing to do with the fact that it's your girl, right?
Well, no, none of that. None of that. No, just got to get that speculation going. You never know when that issue number 2 of a 5-issue miniseries is going to absolutely blow up. But yeah, I was walking through the shelves and I'm like, where are they? How did people come in 5 minutes like before me and steal all this? And then I had to like bust out my phone, look at both of them up, and I went, oh, I'm really, really stupid. And so I had to do the dumb walk out of like, bye guys, like, and I know my shop owners were just like, see ya, but I know in their mind they're like, why didn't he buy anything? And now I just feel dumb.
Yeah, I mean, you could have checked Previews World before you left.
I thought I did. Well, that's the thing is like, I thought I did. That list that I put away in a drawer right now, but I've been showing off these last 2 weeks. Like I've written that out 3 or 4 different times. I have it on my phone. I have it on 2 different pieces of paper. I have it in a Discord message. I think you and I like sent back and forth. So I don't know. I just went, yes, 423. This is it. It got in my head. So I'll be up bright and early next week on Wednesday to get our books read ahead of our Thursday show, which is this one, Foil Variant. And you guys would know that because it's on the title and you're here and you're watching us and you're hanging out and we couldn't be happier to have you. Not my best transition work, but you know what? It worked. At least you guys can hear us. There's no boomerisms happening as far as you guys
Not yet.
know. Right? Yeah, we're actually we're off to a pretty good start here. Welcome, guys. As always, it is Thursday night. Andrew and I are back. 3-week streak. We are riding high. We are glad to be here. Andrew,
Right before we break your heart and break the streak, because I'll be visiting my folks next week.
Yep. Next week we'll be back to a solo stream. We'll hang out. We'll play some video games. Don't worry about that. We'll be here. But yes, Andrew is
no one's dying this time or off, gallivanting.
Oh my!
And all of that. So it's strictly family that I have not seen in quite a while.
Which we absolutely would rather like. If it came down to it, we would cancel the show. I would rather you go see your folks and everything. Don't worry, I can hold down the fort. I won't lie to you. Before last night, as I was going to bed, I out of nowhere got like the scratchy throat, and I went, no. Turned out it was just one of those random ones you get when you're like really like stress tired. And so
Okay,
like,
yeah.
I woke up in the morning and I was like, oh, we're good. Don't even worry about it. But I had that like, I'm not gonna break the streak. Like, what are we gonna do? But we didn't.
You were gonna kill us.
Yeah, I was gonna kill all the momentum we built up over these 2 weeks, but I didn't. We are here, and honestly, we have some pretty. I feel like I've been saying this a lot, but it feels like this is. I guess there's probably a schedule thing where it's like one big week you and I have, and then like 3 weeks where we always go like kind of a light week. Obviously, we always have things to talk about, but it's always relegated to like 1 or 2 books as opposed to you and I going, all right, we got to hit 19. Let's go.
Yeah.
I would say this week was one of those lower. That's not even a term. A slower week. Less books coming out, but I'd say at least on my end, from what I read, I had a lot of fun with this week's books.
I think I, for the most part, enjoyed everything that came out.
Except one thing.
Except for one particularly glaring thing about a book that I otherwise enjoyed everything else about, and we'll get to that.
Which will be
but otherwise,
interesting.
it was a pretty overall positive week, aside from that one glaring thing.
And don't worry, guys. We'll get to it, and I guarantee you'll want to be around for it because I don't know if you guys actually can even glean what book we're talking about with that little.
Oh boy. Yeah.
But aside from that, we obviously, instead of rambling on for an hour and a half about the video games we've been playing and having our friend conversation live in front of you guys, we're gonna try and be better about our scheduling, about staying on topic. So with that, let's say hi to the chat. Let's get into everything. And we have Corey saying gay and hey, Andrew. I'm hoping that I am the gay and he's not just saying everything is gay and ignoring me. But either way, Corey, always a pleasure to have you. We have Subhuman is with us. I haven't read anything new this entire month. I just read Spider-Man back issues. Good. Hey, that's not a bad decision. That is not a bad decision to go back and read back issues and all that stuff.
I would say there are some good books that have been coming out this month, but like there ain't nothing ever wrong, and I'll never knock you for saying, you know what, I just feel like reading the old stuff.
Oh,
nothing wrong with that. Unless by old stuff you mean Clone Saga or Clone Conspiracy, in which case I'm gonna be like, you could have actually just read something newer.
You have to read that for one sole reason, and that is Mark Bagley got his start there. So you can see very early Mark Bagley art. Y'all thought I was going to say Ben. Oh, no.
I thought you were going to say Ben. Nope. I thought you were going to say Ben.
I recognize
like,
that.
Here we go.
They're kind of like him and Kane are kind of stains on everything. I get that. But that was early Mark Bagley art. And it's really, I remember reading Ultimate Spider-Man and all that when I was a teenager, and then going back and reading all the old amazing stuff and being like, this art, and it like early before I even like thought about connecting like artists doing other jobs and stuff, and I'm like, why does this look so familiar? Like what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, it's Mark Bagley.
I'll be honest, I actually like his older stuff a bit better, but part of that might also be due to the way that things were colored. I wasn't
flat coloring,
and not just
not
flat,
is how I would say
but
it. Like,
they had more defined lines as well. So part of it might also be the inking, because the way that a lot of the stuff was colored in Ultimate Spider-Man, the Volume 1 Ultimate Spider-Man, especially like his covers. Like, I didn't like that it was like that pseudo painted 3D look. I do not like that at all. I hate it.
How do you describe that? Like super like I describe it as like digital rendering, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how it feels to me.
It doesn't even look like it's attempting to be traditional comic art.
I think part of that was,
and that might have been just due to the era it came out in. It's like, this is the 2000s. We have access to newer tech, or we're trying things out. And so this is the thing. Because they did that all across the Ultimate line.
Yes.
Like, they did that with Ultimate X-Men covers. They did that with some interiors as well. And I wasn't about it then either.
No, and that's, you took the words right out of my mouth. That's what I was going to say. I don't like that coloring either. And it is probably the thing that puts me off and makes it harder to go back and read this stuff. But I do think that was part of like, oh, look at all this new stuff we can play with. We got to throw it out there. We got to do this. Remember in the like very early 2000s, there was that very weird period where they were doing like, like modeling comics, you know, like not like fashion models, but they would take like 3D model, like a Gary's Mod comic almost, right?
Yeah.
Like, they would pose some models, screenshot it, like they had a bunch of those books, and they all look terrible, and they even
Yeah,
looked
I
terrible
don't like the damn
then,
one of them.
but they went really, really ham on that. That's what they were all about.
I'm kind of bummed because since I'm out next week,
Yeah.
I'm out on an Ultimate Spider-Man week.
Don't worry. As you know from the weeks you were gone last, being cool, we will not cover that, or I will not cover that without you.
I got to make sure that I get that. Oh man, how am I gonna get that Michael Walsh variant with the black suit?
Me?
What am I doing? I've got Midtown Comics. What am I even talking about?
You've got Midtown. You've got me. There's like 900 different ways like we can make this happen.
Yeah, no, I'll be fine. I just realized like I'm stupid. I have the Midtown Comics app.
Don't worry. I'm still in that post Tifa like what is happening.
I'm not used to it, and I usually prefer to try and give my LCS the extra funds if there are variant comics that I know they make more off of. And the guys at my shop are cool, so I try to give them that extra business, right? Whenever I can, even if it ends up being a couple dollars more than if I bought it online, I'm fine with that. I'd rather give the money to them anyway. Like I picked up the oh gosh, why am I blanking on the artist's name? But that black cat cover from this week's Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh,
I picked that up. No, it's
I'll get it. I know what you're talking about.
This is gonna bug the absolute crap out of me. But yeah, I picked up that cover because I saw it. They had like one left on the shelf, and I was like, all right.
Like, okay, it's there. And it's that's of course who it is. We love this. It's Pablo Villalobos or Villalobos.
Villalobos. There it is, yeah.
Like that. It is this cover. Let's see. Let's jump over to the browser window. Whoa,
that cover just looks
like
absolutely fantastic.
Bring you down, sub. He's just fantastic. It like kind of no matter what he does. There is, pardon me. You might remember, but I've talked to this a lot with Punk actually. There is a DC does like that sweater weather theme every year where it's basically like winter swimsuit. It like covers. I think it's a cute little idea and it gets good art. But the Villalobos did one for the Birds of Prey like 2 years ago where it's like Barda and Canary and it is gorgeous and I just cannot find it anywhere. But yeah, he's great. Don't blame me for that. But also this is what we were talking about, guys. For those of you who are curious, here's Bagley's art from back in the 90s during the Clone Saga that Subhuman is about to embark on. Good luck with that. Again,
have fun.
Thoughts
and prayers.
For all I like a Ben Reilly as a character, and for all I like what they did with Kane and that Scarlet Spider, like since then, it's none of that is good. Like I can't stand by it. I can't justify anything about it. It is so bad that there is a villain they introduced named Judas Traveler who is teased.
Wow, I have not heard the name in 8 freaking centuries.
Dude, right, exactly. There's a villain they introduced who was supposed to be this like mysterious scion who knows everything. He's almost like Ezekiel if Ezekiel was evil and he didn't know anything was happening. And he in like 1997 there's an issue where he goes like he sees Spider-Man on the ground like unconscious, knocked out from like Norman, and he goes, everything's going according to plan, I'll see you soon, Spider-Man. And he like walks off panel, gone. Until, and this surprised the hell out of me, he shows back up in Krakoa, like during the Krakoa War at the very end. It turns out he's an Ortiz operative. And none of that, like, again, not a good story, but I remember turning the page and going, no fucking, like, no way somebody remembered that he actually existed.
What the hell is Judas Traveler doing here in this X-Men book right now?
Literally, I think it was literally just like, I remember, like, whoever it was like, I remember he exists. He's not doing anything. He shows up in a panel in, like, control of an Ortiz ship, or like, the Captain Picard on, like, the bridge of a ship or whatever.
Sure.
And he's like, let's go. And then, like, the X-Men completely blow that ship out of the sky, like, in the next second. And it's like, okay, well, at least he has an end now. But, yes, Clone Saga is going to be, you're in for a ride. It's going to be rough, but you do, as I was saying, you do get this awesome Bagley art from early on in his career. And to what Andrew and I were saying, you can definitely see, so in this, back then you have the flat, like, I don't want to say they're flat colors, right? But they don't make the image flat. They're not just like one tone. They're all working there, but it's just one layer put on top of another layer on top of another. There's no like smudging. There's no digital tools being used, or at least in the sense we know him now, right? Like it's 1996. If anything, maybe they used like the paint bucket tool to get a general red on everything, and then they went over it. But they went from this to like this, which is, you know, now you can see more of the like blurring together, more of, you know, trying to soften the division of all the colors. His lines are still cool, but I'm with Andrew. I'm not a big fan of this type of coloring, and that's unfortunately kind of definitive of what that era was. We've gotten better, but there are still some books occasionally that do suffer from this. And I would actually argue the first artist on Superman colors like this, or on Superman this week with the Lex story, as we'll get into. I'd argue colors like this, and that was kind of one of the off-putting things of that issue for me. Like it
was a little strange, yeah.
Yeah, so
it was kind of jarring.
You have the OHC, what's OHC? Original hardcover? I mean, I'm assuming one of those are hardcovers, but
omnibus hardcover?
Oh, maybe okay. That makes the most sense, but here's where my brain just broke. How the hell do you omnibize this? Do you omnibize like, here's Amazing Spider-Man Clone Saga, Spectacular Spider-Man Clone Saga, blah blah blah, or do you just do it like in order, where it's just like I genuinely have no idea. Yeah, it's like 9 of those, right? Like
yeah, it's too many books, is what it is.
And then don't even get me started. Not a good time on when they did. Obviously you and I were kids for this, so we didn't really have to experience it. But I can't even imagine how you and I would have like handled it if we were adults and had. I guess it wouldn't be foil variant on YouTube. Maybe we'd be on like K-Rock or something. I don't know. But because I was going back and writing some things earlier this week about Spider-Man, I looked it up, and there was that period when Ben took over where instead of relaunching things, they just renamed it, but then didn't keep the legacy numbering. It's so like there's Spectacular Spider-Man number like 9, and then the next one is like Spectacular Scarlet Spider number like 10 or whatever, right? Like, whoa, Ben's here, and then they revert to Spectacular Spider-Man number 10, and it's still Ben, and I'm just like, what did we do here? Like, I don't understand you. I mean, I know it's an oversized hardcover. Okay.
I think what it is
that's exactly what we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. I think what it is that the Spider Office has been an absolute shit show for the better part of the last 3 decades.
Yeah, that Occam's razor here, right? Like
sometimes the simplest answer is the actual most reasonable and probably the one most likely to be true.
It feels almost like a Greek drama. Like you and I are sitting on like a cliffside, and I'm like, the gods, why this, why? And then you're just like, because they're the gods, and it's like, yeah, I know, but why? Like that's so good. Oversized hardcover, that makes sense. Maybe I'd pick those up one day. Didn't even know they existed, obviously, until right now, but good luck with that. And then, don't worry, Punk, I didn't ignore you. We didn't skip you. I skipped you on purpose because I figured this is a good one for Andrew. Punk says, Witchblade was the only comic I got this week.
Witchblade is always the final book in my stack that I read, because no matter what the book was prior to it that I read, if it was good or if it was bad, Witchblade is almost always like the highlight of my week. And this week was no different. That book continues to just be damned good. Cafaro's art is god tier. He is so freaking good. So good. And his paneling layouts are fantastic. The story is just excellent. The series has not been this good since this era behind me. The original run. Like I'm talking Turner, like the actual, I'm talking like first arc. 50 issues of that series. So everything basically before Ron Mars took over was like, that was the best that the book had been. Now it's back to like that type of quality. It's got a slightly different tone to it, but it's still similar enough that I absolutely know I'm reading a Witchblade comic, and a classic Witchblade comic, but set in the modern era. That is just so good.
Where is it? I had the book up a second ago. Whatever. Yes. You guys might remember last week we were supposed to talk about it because that was technically this book's release date.
Yeah, but it didn't show up in most shops until this week.
Yeah, it didn't show up in Andrew's shop, didn't show up in Punk's shop. It was a very, very weird thing. We blame it all. It all goes back to that foil variant crashed truck from like months ago. We know that. But yes, it finally dropped. Don't worry, Subhuman. We will not be spoiling Witchblade for you.
We don't talk Witchblade on this show. Those of you who've been watching, beyond like Mav, if a Witchblade book dropped that week, Mav will ask me, "Hey, how's Witchblade?" And I'll be like, "Still pretty freaking awesome." And that's basically the extent of it.
And yeah, it still looks fantastic. Just all of this art, even though there's not even anything in particular supernatural in this one until the end. But like, it looks great. Yeah, so. I don't read this one, not because I don't want to, but because I'm so far behind on Witchblade. We've talked about that. But aside from that, guys, I think even if we were talking about this book, this might be one we would be very cautious to spoil and maybe even not really get into on this show because, and I'm saying this from not even having like read, I think I read like the opening page for something. But just from what I hear from Andrew and how like much he loves this book and how, you know, a testament to like creator-owned work, all of this sort of stuff. I would want everybody out there to read this on their own, right? Like it's a reboot of a sort of, I don't want to say obscure property, but one that hasn't really been around for a while, and especially in this era of comic books and media. This it sounds weird to say, but bringing back Witchblade is a big swing. Like that's not really easy because. Unfortunately, we live in that era, even with Image, even though they're better at this, where you have to consider, can we, you know, media-ize this? Can I license this out for a show or tour? Like, they all have to do that.
Tried that.
Yeah, they did.
I own the whole DVD set.
And, you know, why not try it? Like, I'm open for them to try again. Wait, do you mean the DVD set of the live-action one?
I own the box set.
Yeah,
I own the box set of that and the anime.
Yeah, no, because I was thinking anime, but then I went, oh wait, there's one more production that I totally forgot about. I always, in my mind, feel like that show should have crossed over with the Birds of Prey show that was over on like, not the CW, WB, I think is what it was at the time. They just felt the same sort of like over the top 2000s action comic book adaptation. I don't know, it always felt right to me. But yeah guys, this is one that I know we would recommend. Go out and check this out. I believe didn't you say that the first trade
low commitment
just dropped?
Too. The first trade dropped like a month ago. This thing's only $10.
I forgot about. I think you and I talked about.
It's only $10, and I think
Insanely
this
cheap.
first arc was 7 issues too. Hold on, let me double check. And
for context, guys, what is it like? It's like $6-7 for a regular comic book issue. So
yeah.
If you're getting even 3 books in that trade, which I know it's more than, you're already getting more than your money's worth.
Okay, maybe it is the first 6. Yeah, it's the first 6. Oh, plus the holiday special. They added that into there.
Really? Okay. You're obviously in the like comic book publishing business. That thing came out in like December, obviously, and then that trade came out. You said last month, so that would have been where are we? March. That seems like a really fast turnaround. Is that normal?
Yeah, no, for Image, it's actually fairly quick. At least it seems for Witchblade. However, it took them much longer to drop the Rook first collected volume. Like it was like 4 months after the 6th issue of that series had dropped that they dropped the trade. At least it felt like that. It was a while.
It probably was. I imagine, especially like at least with that, there's probably some weird thing in the contracts that's like, and what I'm about to say is completely just giving a really easy example, guys. Don't take this as testament. Don't cite me in any of your essays or anything. But in a regular flow, you know, if it's Andrew and Eric, right? Andrew goes, hey, I have item number 19. It's ready to go to print because in this alternate future, Andrew got his temporary cancer, and instead of playing video games, he became the world's greatest artist. I know it's right there underneath the surface, Gohan. Let's bring it to the top.
Right.
But, so Andrew goes over to Eric and says, hey, item number 19, ready to go. And Eric goes, cool, because this is all of our stuff, I'm just going to send it to the printer right away. We have our guys, let's go. And there we go. It's off to the print. You guys will get the campaign announcement, and Andrew will be up at 2 a.m. the next day to help you guys out. In this situation, I can imagine it going like, I'm Jeff Johns, right? Like I have my book ready to print. Rob Liefeld or whoever is it Silvestri who currently is like in charge of everything over at Image?
It's McFarlane.
Oh, it's still okay, cool. So yeah, he goes over to McFarlane and he says, "I'm ready to print." And McFarlane says, "All right, we'll put it to the regular Image printers." And I can imagine there might be something where he goes, "Well, I'm Jeff Johns. I have my preferred printers and stuff. Let me see what they can do first." And maybe that like gives him a delay because he has to go talk to RIPPAVERSE or whatever. And RIPPAVERSE says, "Yeah, we can't do it right. We have so many books. We just took over from Diamond. We just can't take you right now." And he goes, "Okay, cool." Then he'll come back and say, "All right, print it through you guys." That's the only thing I can imagine because Image isn't that slapshod, right? Like their
stuff, dude, their books, their floppies, at least Witchblade, I guess to be fair, that's the only one I'm picking up. Though when I was picking up Lady Mechanica, that would apply as well. It's higher quality than anything DC and Marvel are putting out in terms of like the print quality of the paper stock that they use and the covers. Like it's not even comparable. Like you can't even put them in the same conversation. Image's books are like 2, maybe 3 like paper stock qualities above DC and Marvel's. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. And yet they only charge like an extra $1 for the books. And it's like, this is a book that has a little more sturdiness to it. It's got a little more weight. It's a little thicker. It fits nicer into a bag and board if you're getting a modern bag and board. It's just, I've never that there's quality there.
Have you ever like preserved a trade? I've never done that. I'm not against it. I've never done it.
I have some trades that are, well, we ship all of ours and technically our books because, 100+ pages sometimes, they are in bags and boards, resealable bags and boards. We ship them all like that. Oh. And I have a couple.
My pause there was like, excuse me, because I thought, because I was on, my mind was on like trades. I was thinking of like the one I got, the Trinity, and I was like,
oh yeah, okay.
That
so
was
like
actually in bubble wrap, and then I was like, oh no,
that one's a little bit bigger.
Right. Yeah. No,
that's
all
a bit different.
The actual RIPPA issues, if you will, the magazines, the issues, the art book, or maybe not the art books, but yeah, those regular releases, those do come in very nice quality bags and boards.
Yeah, we got our stuff. I think right now who we're using is BCW.
They're the standard. Oh yeah. This is not even a political thing, but I also my heart does go out to you guys because with the tariffs going up, I saw a post from BCW where their stuff is about to jump. Obviously, it's BCW, so it's not like you're going to be paying thousands more, but it's still going to be a butt. Like it's going to be
most of our stuff that we do is not affected, thankfully, by all of that. But there are a couple of things that unless we choose to pivot to whatever supplier for materials, and if we go through a third party, like if we were to say go through like, I don't know, Amazon or something like that. Amazon has deals where like it kind of circumvents certain things. That's a whole other thing.
That's a whole other game of chess. But long story short, Witchblade good. Go check out Witchblade.
Witchblade great.
Literally never heard a dooming criticism from Andrew. There's times when he's like, that was weird. Maybe I wasn't a fan of that. That's just everything, right? Nothing is perfect. But this is one of those books where he every time it happens, right? So this is the cycle. We'll talk about, it'll drop. He'll talk about it. I'll go, oh my God, like I really want to read this. He gets me hyped up. I forget about it for the next 3 weeks. Another one comes around and I go, damn it, I really want to catch up. Everybody out there, I told this to Andrew, so I'll put it to you guys. Full license this weekend. Annoy the hell out of me. Tag me on Discord. Tag me on Twitter. I tell my ass to sit down and read Witchblade. That's what I said to Andrew earlier. I was like, all right, I'm done doing the cycle. I'm going to sit down this weekend. I'm going to get past the issue number 4, or I'm past that. Issue 7, wherever I am. I'm early. But I'm going to do it. So you all have full license. I'm holding myself accountable to you. If I don't go through with it, we'll get some sort of a punishment out here, if you will.
We'll do it.
But let's see. Subhuman says this Witchblade is better than the previous one. So he doesn't mean like the ones we're talking, because what is the like history, the creative history, I guess, of Witchblade? Because I know it didn't stay with them forever.
So you have the original run, right? The original creative team. And then you have the team that came after that, and the run that was after that, which was largely written by Ron Mars, and Steven Sejic did a lot of the art.
Really?
Yeah. And
I
that
like
one,
art. That must have been early.
he's got some pretty cool art. He's got a unique painted style.
It's kind of what you and I talk about. It's not what I like on my comic books per se.
It's something I like on covers, but on interiors, it's a little taxing. Because it's not super dynamic on interiors, but that's neither here nor there. There was that era, which was still part of the same continuity, but then they like did a soft relaunch.
Oh, really?
And that didn't do great and didn't go over well. And then they did a reboot, and that did worse. And that was Witchblade Rebirth, which was them basically just trying to not retell, but they were still retelling the story, which is stupid. It wasn't particularly good.
When did that one happen? Was that like 2000?
Oh gosh, that was the 2010s.
Oh, that was gonna be my second guess, because that sounds like either the 2000s era when everybody tried to ultimate.
You are roboting super hard right now. So stop downloading Expedition 33 Clair Obscure. I know you want to play it. I want to play it too.
Incorrect. I have Marvel Rivals.
Or stop playing Marvel Rivals in the background.
Exactly.
Because that's not helpful.
Am I better now?
Yeah, then
okay, cool.
Witchblade Rebirth was the one before this. Was not great. What we have right now is outstanding, and it's them actually them retelling it, like actually retelling it from the start, but basically telling a slightly tweaked version of the story, the original story, but setting it in the modern day,
but not
not
for
modern
audience.
Yeah, not for a modern audience version of modern day. I mean modern day as in literally it's set in the modern day as opposed to set in the 90s, right? And they have just done a freaking phenomenal job with it. Super bang up job.
For those of you who don't know who Stefan Sevcik is, I pulled up one of his Witchblade pages. Surprisingly hard to find the interiors. You can find all of his covers really easy, but don't know why you can't find these. You might recognize him. He has done a lot of DC work. He's done a lot of adult work. He has a very popular adult comic book series called Sunstone, I believe it is. It's about, lesbians and all their fun hijinks. Again, very, very good art. All the fundamentals are there. The painting, it actually is very, very pretty. But as Andrew and I were saying, this isn't good comic book art. One of a very relevant comparison I could make here, Andrew, is these 3 panels of her jumping and like leaping over or whatever. These are compare this to Absolute Wonder Woman number whatever it was, 1 or 2, where my favorite panel where she's on the beach like flipping.
Oh yeah.
They do the same thing, but that one actually makes it feel like Diana feels like she's moving. This feels this feels like
more like a bunch of stills rather than her moving.
This feels like the when like Asian, like Japanese or Chinese third party companies make like a figure or something, and they make those trailers and they're all like unnecessarily like Zeus level epics, where it like starts at like the base and it's like and it's got like lightning flares everywhere. Like that's what this sort of feels like. Very cinematic, I guess, display-o-matic, but not good in terms of motion and feeling like you're reading a comic book. It's not great, but it's not bad. Let's see. Subhuman says Mad Cave is the same with their trades. Who is Mad Cave? I don't know if I know who they are.
I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah, Mad Cave Studio. Let's see. What do you guys do? Oh, they're doing like the here. I have the website up. We can do this. It's these guys. I think they're newer, but they've got a lot of like licenses to things. Like they've got the Flash Gordon books right now. They've got randomly like the Gotcha Man, the Heroes of the Universe like guys. They've got Dick Tracy. And they just announced a Speed Racer comic that is coming up. So, okay, I've seen these guys around. Have no experience with any of their trades. None of these series yet have gripped me enough, but I actually might check out that Speed Racer one. I'm not gonna lie. Let's see. Hey, Zero is here, bit late. Hey, you're never late as long as you're hanging out with us. We're always happy to have you. And B, that's what the replay is for, man. You can catch up when we're all done here. Timon, what is going on? Hello to you, my other shiny as well. I'm not gonna lie. On a personal note, like I've been, the term like shinies has become enduring to me for like referring to all of us. I don't know if we'll ever use it for anything, but I do. Like I was thinking about it this week, and I was like, huh, that's cool. We have a sort of at least a proto name for our little community here. Punk asks, have you gotten around to buying the first issue of the new Vampirella series, Spencer? Yes, I did. Haven't cracked it open yet. There is just a lot that I have to catch up on, that I have to... There's a lot that I got to get through, but don't worry, Punk. The second I crack that open, you're going to be the first person to know. Sorry about that weird little like brain fart I had there. I just realized I have an account here with Mad Cave. That was weird. Like, I don't... Yeah, what the hell? Like, I've never...
How about that?
Don't drink and order comic books, guys. Like this is what happens. You just start making...
Oh, that's a bad idea.
Oh, it really backfires on you hard. But
that's a really bad idea.
What doesn't backfire on you is when you are sober on a Wednesday morning, as you should be, hopefully, and you get your new comics. Look at that. Look at that very graceful transition. You're all so welcome. Andrew, we've got some good stuff, some okay stuff. Well, I don't think we really need to touch the okay stuff. The okay thing I'm referencing is X-Men. Is there anything you really want to say about it?
No.
Yeah, there's just because we mentioned it, guys, and just because it's a regular book that we do cover here, I'll give you guys a quick home button on the... I hit the wrong button. Yeah, because it is a book that we do read here and we have talked about, I'll give you guys a quick rundown. Really, it is nothing new from what we've been seeing. It's a lot more... We focus back in on the mutants in Alaska. They are trying to help one of the very young mutants they found in Alaska in like issue number 2 or 3. We learned that she is not a mutant per se, as they thought she was, but she basically has her own Cassandra Nova. Like, she had a twin in the womb. Twin got like absorbed into her, but the twin had mutant powers, so it comes out, and it is now taking over this big living spaceship thing that the aliens came to arrest Scott with. Again, guys, this series is very incoherent, right? Like, I think there's been too much time that it's spent in crossovers, right? We had Raid on Greymalkin, then we had X-Manhunt. We have all this stuff they keep getting thrown into. So when we come back to their plot, it very much feels like filler, right? Like, I don't care about this mutant. I kind of forgot she even existed. We try to, there's this mutant we also met early on who can fly and change herself into other animal parts. I don't care about her either because we haven't really seen anything. It's retreading everything we've seen before. Oh, here are some young mutants. They're scared. Do we push them or not? And it's not doing it in the tactful, like, interesting way that Gale is doing, with Rogue having her sort of consciousness, like, I don't want to do this, but I got to do this. This is more just like, they joined. This is what they were signed up for. Let's go. Yeah, so it really just, we get the reintroduction of Cassandra Nova. That is really all that happens in this book. And then at the very end, we get introduced to the new X-Men, whoever these guys happen to be. They are the X-Men assembled by that council of like 4 villains we saw way back hidden under the QR code of issue number 1.
Yeah, that we haven't seen or heard anything out of since that.
So hold that thought, because let me just how do I wrap the sentence to get to that? So yeah, guys, like that is basically all we do. We see the new Cassandra Nova sort of take form. She can manipulate flesh or whatever. I realized something. So yes, Andrew was right. We really haven't seen this shadowy council of like villains probably since issue 1. I think maybe like one panel in like issue 7, like one time more. Do you remember? So on that same note, do you remember? And I asked this because I totally forgot. There's that whole new enemy group of like Orchie's mutant people who like gave themselves mutations. Remember at like the very beginning, that was like the red suited AIM type people.
Mm-hmm.
And like I remember, because I remember in that you and I were both like, this is kind of lame, and I was the dissenting voice, and I went, this is the only thing that sort of piques my interest. This might be cool, if you will. And then it just, they've never done it again. They mentioned them in this issue, and I don't remember where, but I went, oh, that's right, they exist. Yeah, very, very dumb issue. Really, you're really not missing out on anything. Maybe I don't know. I really don't know what to say about this book other than this was cool where Magic and Juggernaut finally do a team up attack in a style that I think you and I would have been asking for a while, where she basically goes, Juggernaut, start running, and he just runs. He's not running anywhere in particular. He's just building up speed, and then she goes and she clicks open a portal and lets him like run through it like a bullet. And I thought this page, I went, this is like, that's what I like to see. That's all I can give this issue. Genuinely, all I can give this issue is that's a cool move.
It's the best you can do. Well, not a good book right now.
But the main reason I wanted to ask you about this book, Andrew, is yes, I figured it'd be nice to give everybody a recap of where we are. But is this an avian thing?
I don't know.
That's what
I don't
really
have this
worries
book.
me here.
I didn't read this book.
You didn't get it. Oh, good for you. Good for you.
No, I dropped every X book that isn't Phoenix and Uncanny.
Oh, you did. I didn't know you dropped this one too. I
didn't realize that I had dropped this one until you brought it up, and I was like, "Was there a new one this week?" And then I was like, "Wasn't in my pull list."
I don't have one. No, and look, it's for good reason, guys. We got Stegman back on this issue, so obviously you're going to see some really pretty art, as you're seeing. Like there's magic here, summoning a bunch of demons, but it's less than mid-K. Honestly, the only good things from this book are Magic and Juggernaut. And even then, it is very hit or miss whether you're going to get this cool sort of like, we're eager for like the hunt sort of like Magic and Juggernaut, or you're going to get dumb Mimi Juggernaut and Magic. Like the one from that one issue where it was like, how many points do I get, Scott? And
that was like stupid and obnoxious.
Yeah, whatever that whole thing was. So good on you for dropping the book. There's really not a lot going on here. I am very afraid that we might have to revisit it when the avian stuff comes back. But I'm not going to bore you with the details because it doesn't matter because you haven't read it. But yes, that is X-Men. Not a lot going on. And I cannot tell you, just even an aside, we've seen this team already. They released, what do you call it? A preview? Like a preview image of them a month ago. Even then, didn't do anything for me. I sent it to Andrew and both of us just went, okay. Like, okay. I think that's Hellion in the front, and that makes me slightly excited. But again, it's having these little bits of things where it's sort of like a, okay, that was cool. A book can't survive on concession. You know what I mean? Like you can't have a book that is good and the best takeaway your readers are having is like, oh, well, at least there was that. So I don't know where this book is going. Obviously, it's not going to get canceled because it's X-Men. It's the main book. Maybe we'll get somebody new on it. But no, I think you made the right decision in dropping the X line. I can't, because we wrapped up Revenge. So that's, I mean, unless you and I want to get on the train for the black and white edition release of Wolverine's Revenge, just in case we want to hand over another extra $40.
Based on all the freaking annoyances around that book's publication to begin with, I think I might just not even bother getting that trade collected volume on principle.
I'm
as much as I love Capullo's art. And
I'm so torn because I'm right there with you.
Hickman's storytelling was great, but I'm not probably not going to grab it.
And you guys know us, like you out there know us. We love seeing our pencils. We love seeing our inks, especially when it comes to Capullo. I know it's going to look great, but I am right there with you. When I sent that to you last night, yeah, I was laughing at the fact like, oh, of course they're like, milking this. But I also admitted like, you know what? Fine, your Marvel, get your bag. But I think it really is like you guys were so stupid about this the first time and you just wrapped it up and now you're going, "Oh no, wait, come back for more." I don't know, man. Like even I'm pretty sure that release is going to go fine cuz it's all done, but I still am just annoyed with you.
Yep.
All right, let's see. Yes. Well, first off, Clone Geek, how's it going, buddy? Always a pleasure to have you. Clone Geek brings up, well, Joe Kelly now has a newsletter. I did see that. For those of you who don't know, Joe Kelly is the writer of Amazing Spider-Man right now. Yes, he did launch a newsletter. I haven't checked it out yet. I am very positive, though, that I will be seeing a lot of Clone Geek in those comment sections in the, I don't know if he's doing the same sort of Q&A thing that Brevoort does, but I definitely know Clone Geek's going to hold him to the fire. So I will see you in those trenches, my friend. Clone Geek says USM is the only Marvel non-licensed book I'm buying. And you know what? That is A, completely fair, and B, you're not alone in that, man. That is a lot of people. We brought it up last week or a couple weeks ago, but ever since the first trade of Ultimate Spider-Man dropped, that trade has been in the top 3 best-selling graphic novels every month. In its first 2 months, it was doing manga level numbers, right? Like, so the site I use, and I think you use by default because it's the only one that gives any public info, and it's the one that I send you screenshots from, so of course you're going to see the info there. ICVS2, they have they do 2 different charts. They do sort of like top 25 like graphic novels, and then they do like top 25 like I think it's like collected editions or something, which includes trade paperbacks and then art books and then manga and everything. Oftentimes you do not see any Western titles on that secondary list. It's all manga. Occasionally you might get like the DC Marvel omnibuses pop up on there, but those are like the very like special releases, right? Because they're celebrating that series or that creator. The Ultimate Spider-Man trades have been on that chart like twice. The first trade has been top 3 every month. Volume 2 came out last month and it was out for 14 days out of the month, and it was the #1 best-selling trade of the entire month. And that momentum is just going and going and going. And as much as, shout out to Clone Geek, as much as Tom Brevoort wants to say, "Oh, this is just, this is just how comic books are. This is just for a different audience. There's not a lot to read into this." It's a lie. What you're seeing here is people it's not only getting comic book readers like us, but it's getting fans who might have checked out of all of this stuff a long time ago. It's getting fans who like Spider-Man, but maybe, have heard just terrible things about where the comic books are. People are loving it. And yes, I mean, I can speak for me. I think I can speak for Andrew, but that was Ultimate Spider-Man's a series that brought us back into the fold. Like, we wouldn't be here reading Western comics again, or even talking about them, or probably even be friends if that book hadn't dropped. So all praise to it. Don't ever feel bad that if that's the only thing you're reading. I would much rather you read that, everybody, than Hush 2. Okay? Like please don't. I'm so mad at all of that. Did you see? Okay, wait. This is an aside.
I haven't been paying attention to anything with Hush 2 because I just don't give a shit.
I know. So I don't either. I did not make this discovery on my own by reading the issue. I only saw this because I was on social media. Andrew, quick pop quiz, hotshot. Do you remember what we liked a lot, or what were some of the main things you and I liked about the premise or the start of the all-in Batman era?
Well, the premise was that he was going to have, they were supposedly trying to pitch this history of Riddler being a reformed villain. He was actually going to use his super.
Uh-oh. Oh no, did we lose Andrew? Did we lose me? What happened here? Ruh-roh.
I don't know what
And-
happened there.
Whoa. Okay. Cool. You're back. Woo. I hope that was just on our end and not, or on your end, not my end. But anyway, you're good.
Okay. I don't know what the chat did or didn't hear, but yeah, they gave away the mystery right away, and that made it immediately uninteresting, along with some like supposed retcons that wound up being fake outs as well. And it was just a whole lot of nothing and incredibly disappointing. And that's why I dropped the book. So I'm not reading it anymore.
All right. That is a perfect summary of everything we complained about. You did miss one thing, but that's okay. I'll consider it a bonus credit question. You forgot that they did pitch an amazing creative team, or at least, sorry, an amazing artist.
Well, yeah,
only to
freaking.
ditch him like halfway.
That's true. I don't know why I didn't even think about that. Yeah, Jorge Jimenez.
It's one of those trauma moments, right? Like you and I, it's so bad that our brains have to blank it out so that we can survive, so that we can keep going.
It's kind of true. Yeah, as sad as that is, it is kind of true.
And then so Clone Geek points out so what I was hoping you would hit, and you hit it right away, was that Riddler point. And Clone Geek brings up, I like the reformed Riddler in the Paul Dini detective run where he was a private investigator. Yeah. I don't know if you remember Clone Geek, or the chat does, or our new viewers, or late coming viewers, whomever, but that was sort of where Andrew and I were. We went, wow, seeing Eddie Nigma use his brains not just to be flary and ostentatious, but actually do something, get into tech, undercut Bruce with all that. We were stoked about that. We thought that was really cool. As you guys know, they gave it off like right away. He was a villain the whole time, blah, 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 blah. It was stupid.
It did last 5 minutes.
The reason I bring this up, Andrew, is because I didn't think it could get any worse. But we got our newest issue of Hush today, or Hush 2. Let me introduce you to our new Riddler. Now, let's walk the good folks through this. We have Eddie Nigma being super buff. He now has a shaved head. He has a weird question mark tattoo, some weird question mark armory thing, and combat military boots and pants. And he's doing the Arkham City Robin pose. Good night, everybody. Andrew will not be returning the week after next. This is he's actually going to be selling his entire collection, and this is where we are. Yeah, Chuck's right here. If you need a fill-in co-host next week, I got you. Chuck, I might need a fill-in co-host for the rest of the show. I think we just this was the end of it.
Wow, that's bad.
So
I'm glad I'm skipping this.
This actually isn't Tom Taylor. This is
That's Jeff Led.
Like this is the guy who wrote the original Hush storyline. He's also the mastermind behind the Long Halloween, Superman for All Seasons. As Andrew and I talked about this last week, Jeff Loeb used to be a name you could trust. I believe he even wrote, he wrote Public Enemies and The Return of Supergirl, right? For Superman, Batman all the way back then. One and two, like one of my favorite arcs and one of Andrew's favorite arcs, like in the same book back to back. The man used to know what he was doing. As Andrew and I unfortunately mentioned last week, there was in 2009, his son died of cancer, and Loeb just kind of hasn't been the same after that. There was a period where a lot of his work started being very like all about his son, which again, it's understandable. Like I have my sympathies for him. Didn't really translate to a lot of good stories. If you guys remember, you'll remember that was sort of what happened to Connor Superboy at the end of Infinite Crisis, when his character started going nowhere and getting weird. It's because Loeb started treating him like his son, and he put up weird protections, and it got weird. The weird protections that had nothing to do with why Didio changed the ending from Superboy dying to Nightwing in Infinite Crisis, or the other way around. That was a whole other thing. But yeah, so after that, Loeb kind of went off the deep end. So yeah, this is, I don't have an explanation for you, Subhuman. Like, it's not Tom Taylor, but it's still really, really bad. And like, there is a good reason Andrew and I meet every Hush 2 announcement or thing with disdain, with exhaustion. It's because this is probably one of the best examples of like the worst parts of comic book, you know, mainstream comic books. You have a retread of an old event that everybody loved. You're bringing back the original creative team to sort of, you know, try
just to capitalize on the name.
Exactly, to capitalize on all of that. You're throwing out hundreds of variant covers all the time. It's really, really sad. And again, guys, I have to bring this up every time because I'm still baffled by this. Remember, they're doing the stupid like television thing with Hush 2. So we're gonna get, so this is for the next 4 months out from here, we are going to be having Hush 2. So it'll be 6 months total of Hush 2. Then we're getting a break for 6 months where they're gonna come in and do another arc of, I don't even remember who they announced. It's just gonna be some all-in random arc. And then after that 6 months, we're coming back with a time skip thing to close out Hush 2. And I'm already exhausted thinking about it. I see.
So I'm not even bothering to pick it up.
I see all. I
see Jim Lee's covers, and I'm not even bothering.
I know that's like, it hurts me so much.
I want nothing to do with it. I will not support it,
dude. I see when I go on to like Midtown to pre-order things. I see when I get to B, it's just like Batman number. What is this? 159, and there's like 2 pages of it because it's like cover A through cover ZZ, and then like foil ZZ, and I'm just like, this is really, really stupid. But yes, I just wanted to show off that Riddler there. Really, really all I have to say about that. Subhuman says, I mean, get Tom Taylor off of Detective Comics. Well, yes, in general, get Tom Taylor off of everything, but also, I don't know what he's doing over there, actually. I haven't checked that out. Do you have any idea?
Not reading it.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I wanted to pick up a detective because it's been like Mariko Tamaki and then it was Tom Taylor. So
last time I was reading Detective was when Tinian was writing it, and it was great.
Ages ago, yeah. Okay, let me ask. This is a curious one because you and I have. So let me just put this out here. Clone Geek says, I think I'd be more interested if it was Frank Miller and Jim Lee finishing up All-Star Batman and Robin. At least that.
No, I don't want Frank Miller. Frank Miller. He's long jumped the shark. I'm over it. Oh, no, I was never a gigantic fan of most of his stuff. Not that he didn't have some good stuff like his Daredevil stuff. Oh, yeah. I don't love Dark Knight Returns, but most people do. But no, I don't want him back on a Batman book. What the hell? You serious? Did you not read the follow-up or the third follow-up to Dark Knight Returns? No.
No, but this is all.
He doesn't know
Batman.
What the hell he's doing
This is
anymore.
the one he already did. This is the one he did back in the day.
No, I know, and he'd go back and no, I don't want that.
I think
that book already was bad.
I think objectively, Clone Geek, yeah, Andrew and I don't like that All-Star Batman run. We do like the art. It's Jim. What do you want me to say? It's Jim Lee. He could draw. He could go draw Cyberfrog, and I would still go, yeah, that's, you got to give Cyberfrog, credit for that art. I would always have to do it. But the story itself is, I think we all gave that, like, that was one of those moments where we should have been like, okay, somebody needs to check on Frank Miller. But I think we let it like slide too much because we kind of memed it. We took it. We're like, oh, this is so ridiculous that we can't help but laugh. But then after that, he did like Holy Terror, which even the politics aside, it's just a bad book. Like I've read it. It is not a good comic book. He did all those Dark Knight sequels or the Master Race one, whatever. He's off his deep end, but that series in particular, that it's not a good version of Batman, and I would say that version of Batman probably did more damage to him than I think any of us would have expected, because, and it's not even necessarily Miller's fault. It's the fact that in the world we live in, right? You screenshot one panel, and you screenshot that panel of him going, "Who am I? I'm the goddamn Batman," to Robin, and all of us laugh, right? We all go, ah ha 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 ha. And when I send it to you, Andrew, or I send it to Clone Geek or Subhuman or Punk, you guys will know, like, we're laughing at it because this is so ridiculous. Like, it is funny because it is so not Batman. However, once normies start seeing it all the time, and that's the thing that keeps getting reposted, they don't have that context, so they just go, "Oh, that is Batman." Like that's what I want to see. And don't underestimate, guys, the so what is it? The propensity for some comic book fans to want to, like, not just like comic book fans, but like also just like general audiences to say, I want mature superheroes, right? Like I want to see them grow up. I don't want them to be all colorful, blah, blah, blah. And that, where was I going with this? Because I was going to talk about, blah, 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 blah. Oh, right. So you hear, or we used to hear that a lot more, right? Like superheroes got to grow up. When are they going to kill? When is Batman going to kill? When is Superman going to kill? When those people say, I want mature superheroes and themes, they don't mean like actual deep discussions. They mean, I want Batman to say fuck. And that's what that gave to them. So it just gave this fuel. Again, I wouldn't say Frank Miller shouldn't have written it. It's just sort of one of those observations. And to bring it all back, I think if we revisited that, and it would just confirm that view of Batman in more people's minds. And look at what we've already gotten with characters getting assassinated, from Dante to Peter Parker to insert character here. I think it's okay to avoid that for a little while. Bring it. Well, let him do it. Oh my God. Okay, Andrew, I was going to say, you can let Frank Miller do All-Star Batman sequel when he's 95 and about to kick the bucket. And then I had to pause because I'm like, isn't he like 94? So like, he's already very, very old.
He's somewhere around there already, yeah.
Oh, let's see. Chuck says, it's funny Andrew would say that about Jim Lee, talking about, seeing his Hush art and going, no way. I didn't like his cover for this week, or I didn't like his cover this week for Hush 2. Andy Kubert's cover is fire.
It's not even a matter of liking or not liking the covers. I just refuse to fund Batman Hush 2. That's what it is.
Like this art, guys, this is some objectively very, very good art. I mean, it can lean into typical Lee territory, like on this page where it's just Batman standing in a...
It's a lot of superhero poses, or just posing in general.
That's what I was going to say.
He's posing. Not much movement happening on the panels.
But it's just, I don't want to support any of it. I can't support this. It would be on the level of buying a Tom King Wonder Woman book for a variant cover. Like it hurts your soul. What? Clone Geek says Frank Miller isn't even 70. He's only a year younger than John Romita Jr., though Jr. shouldn't be on a monthly title. Yeah, agree with that on the Junior part, but he's not even 70? Dude,
how about that? Learned something today.
Kind of looks like he's dying. Don't go out on us. Well, you can go, Frank. I guess there's not really anything you've got left to deliver. I love you, but yeah, you don't need to write comic books anymore.
Yeah, just retire. But what do you say about a book we're actually reading?
That's what I was going to say. What about a book that shouldn't be retired? About a book that is good? Start us off, Andrew. Where do you want to go? I had like
let's jump into Superman 25 to start.
Let's jump on Superman 25. So just off the top, I really like this issue. I
did too. This was actually the first issue in this arc thus far that I didn't find to be just kind of okay.
I thought you liked the early stuff.
I was mostly enjoying it, but I mean the last couple of issues were very boring.
Yeah.
The first 2 or 3 issues were like solid, but not super gripping. I was curious. I was inquisitive. I was like, okay, so there's an interesting premise here. What's going on? But it wasn't until this issue where stuff actually happened that I was like, ooh, interesting now.
Right.
Okay.
So if you guys, to catch us all up as we normally do, this is the 3rd, 4th, 5th midway entry into the opening arc of Superman's All-In era. It is being written by Joshua Williamson, normal artist Dan Mora. This is a supersized issue, so it's got a bunch of different artists that you'll see. All of them good. Don't worry, we're not getting any Carmen Dijapupi or whatever his name is that we don't like. Pardon me. So, for those who don't remember or need to catch up, the all-in premise of Superman right now is that essentially Superman and Lois both have superpowers. Superwoman thanks to absolute power, all the superpowers in the world got switched around. Some people got others, and Lois happened to get General Zod's. And so she's been acting as Superwoman for the past couple issues. The main central plot of this book has been, one, there's this element in the Superman books, it's been there for a while, it's called Supercore, which is basically Lex Luthor giving, underhandedly, how do you put, it's like a scheme, right? Like he's saying, Superman, I have to go to jail. Here's all of my corporation. You should use it for good. You want to use it for good. He's got a lot of stuff
planned
right?
out that is going to both undermine and help Superman at the same time, though it's slightly to Lex's own benefit. But right now, this current real Lex, who is bereft of his memories, it's actually for good reasons rather than just flat out evil, which is interesting. It's not like we haven't had good Lex before. We've actually had good Lex a bazillion times and a half. In fact, early DC Rebirth had it, and it was handled really fun, especially in Super Sons.
Was that when he put on the Superman suit? Was that the Rebirth one? Yeah, that was actually really good.
That was a ton of fun. It was done well. It was Peter J. Tomasi. I don't know what you want. But he also had this clone made that has his actual memories, as well as does not have his current self's inhibitions, we'll say.
Yeah.
When it comes to the more maniacal part of his personality.
Yeah, so that is
that takes us to this actual issue.
Right. So the as Andrew said, we met last issue. So what the whole Lex thing is a bit confusing. It's comic books. He currently doesn't have his memory, so he doesn't sort of remember everything up to, I believe, this arc, or like the start of this arc. I think he loses his memory either right before or right when it starts. So we have the real Lex, and then the last issue we learned that there is a clone that has been it's been incubated for a while now, and it is made up of Lex's cells and Superman cells. It's essentially a grown-up version. Yeah, XL is what they come to call him here. Basically a grown-up version of Superboy, like they did in Infinite Crisis or in that era. And so I remember last issue when they reveal it, you and I were both sort of like, are we really doing this? Like, we're doing, oh, I'm back, I'm Lex, I'm a clone, I have a Superman body. I even remember you going, this was so dumb. Like, why does he have a Superman suit?
I was not a fan of the reveal. Like, last issue, I was like, what are we even doing here?
And I remember, I don't know if I said it to you on stream, but I was like, at least, like, the black suit is always cool. Again, see, a concession. It wasn't even me going, like, I like this. It was like, what can I find here that is something I can take away that is good? And it was,
sure,
black suit always works, but that's not the story. It's just, it's the black suit. It's always going to work. So it, prior to that, we, as Andrew like touched on, we were sort of losing steam on this book. It started off kind of, with a bang, with Superman and Lois saving the day, an introduction of like a time traveling doomsday, this whole doomsday society thing. The setup, like Andrew said, was intriguing, maybe not gripping, but intriguing. They didn't really do anything with it after that. Obviously, there was a lot of great Dan Mora art, but it just sort of devolved into your typical Superman stops somebody, but then another group wants to kill that enemy. Like, what do we do? It's just, we've been here before, so it was kind of getting blah. And then you get this clone angle, and you go, oh my God, like, really? You can't, maybe this stuff works on newer comic readers, Andrew, but I feel like us, or even if you've read comics for maybe like 2 years, clones become like what am I trying to say here? Like a warning sign almost, right? Like I
adding a clone to a story is the moment I start questioning whether or not you run out of ideas.
Yes, that it can be done. But nowadays it has to be done very cleverly, very well, very smart. You can't just be like, oh, look, Spider-Man was beating up that homeless person. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was just a clone. Like, you can't do any of that anymore. There has to be, you have to be smart about it. But yeah, we got to that clone, and we just went, oh man, what are we gonna do here? I'm not gonna lie, I kind of even it made me so disheartened that I didn't even remember where we were when when I picked this issue up today or yesterday. I was like, oh yeah, where the hell are we? So we pick back up. We open with a look back into the storyline development here, where Lex is basically, again, he's trying to set up the super core thing so that he can give it all to Superman and sort of get the last laugh. He's reviewing a little commercial of him and Superman, and we basically just get a look into what this actual plan was. We get to see why he was setting up the clone. He's, saying, yes, while I'm in prison, Superman will have to work with me. And then when I come out, I'll have this body and I will be like the one that everybody looks up to. Very generic Lex stuff, but kind of almost what do you want? Then where is the button for the full page?
Not a lot actually happens in this issue beyond we get the reveal of where this clone Lex came from, why was it Mercy is obsessed with unleashing this one because she's in love with that version of Lex, the maniacal evil version of Lex, and instead of this current one who's actually trying to do some good. But eventually we actually come down to a knockdown drag out where we have Superman and Lois having to fight this kind of pseudo Kryptonian powered Lex, who has an edge over them because they were just exposed to a bunch of kryptonite. So they're super weakened and they get their butts handed to them at first until they get a little bit of backup from an unexpected
unexpected. So yeah, we'll get there. The only pause I'm giving is I just wanted to point out this shot of Lex coming out. I thought that this looks so cool. I was like,
it's a great shot. The art's great in the book. Oh no, the art's absolutely stellar in the book.
Oh yeah, this isn't like a oh no, hold on, let me defend. This was just I want to highlight it because that's such a cool shot. Like the coloring, loved it all. But yes, so we get, as Andrew said, we learn Mercy loves the original Lex and she doesn't like this new good guy Lex. So she tries to bust him out and say, restore his memories in that clone body. And he comes out and we kind of get a classic Lex almost, right? Like, so how do I put this? We opened up the issue and we got the explanation of, everything that was going on. And I'll admit, up to this point, Andrew, I was still a little shaky because I'm going, that Mercy thing is a little dumb, like a little cliche. How many times have we done clone bodies? How many times have we done Lex is the better Superman, right? To what you were just saying, we just did that in Rebirth. So I was like, all right, what are we doing here? But I kept going. We kept going. I don't even know where this hero came from. Maybe she's from the previous run. But it's sort of
she's super recent.
Is she? She must be.
Yeah.
I haven't.
To my recollection, she's super recent because I've only seen her a couple of times prior.
Okay. See, that's even
she's got a cool design.
Oh no, she is very cool. Like I like this character. It was just sort of like, whoa, I don't know who you are. But she's essentially, you know what? She's essentially DC's Ghost Rider, or Spectre Rider would be even better because Ghost Rider is all about vengeance. She's all about justice, like the Spectre and all that. And she's supernatural. She's got some sort of spirit, ghost power. We don't really specific. Maybe people know out there. Andrew and I don't specifically know what it is. But she essentially rescues the real Lex Luthor and, returns him to the battlefield because he says, I can help. Don't worry, I can take him down. Lex eventually arrives and they have their own knockdown, drag down fight where we get Lex in his battle suit versus black suit Kryptonian Lex. And this entire time we're having Lex, do the, I can help you. You're not supposed to be ready yet. And we find out exactly what he means is that a couple, I believe it was actually in the Rebirth era, Lex made a Bizarro. And we learned that in making this body, he used that same process, but he didn't tell Mercy because this Lex was not supposed to be out. This was essentially an experiment, right? Like it was just, if everything goes wrong, we can do this, but really it's just to see if I can do it. And unfortunately, Mercy let him out. He starts, fighting. and he starts breaking down into a Bizarro. So we get a.
That's a great shot right there.
This is
that half splash,
and you
or
know
half
what?
dual splash rather.
It's so good because you have this artist who I forget, who is so great, but then you flip it, boom, Mora is back, and you're just like, hope time, if you will, right? Like there's something hopeful about his art, and especially with this coloring, and we just get into it. Yes, Superman and Lois.
It's a far more detailed coloring than we usually have on his work too.
Oh, 100%. It
adds a whole nother dimension to his lines.
And especially with
who was actually the colorist on this book?
Let's find that out. That's not the right credit page.
Because that's probably the best his work has ever looked, and his work already looks incredible. But
it is this colorist.
It adds so much more dimension.
I've never heard of this colorist. Alejandro Sanchez.
Well, Alejandro Sanchez, shout out to you, because you just somehow made Dan Mora's work even better.
Even better. So we'll keep our eyes out for you on future books. But yes, Superman and Lois team up. As Andrew was saying, not a lot really happens. This is a knockdown, drag down sort of issue. It's a good fight. Don't get me wrong. If you guys pick it up,
it's a solid fight. Yeah.
The dialogue's great. I like this point was pretty. How do I put this? Not like this isn't something we haven't seen before, but I always love these moments when bad guys that are clearly like brain broken, whether they're crazy or they're possessed or whatever, when they just like lose it. And Mora's face there for Lex, I just go, oh man, like this. Okay, you're not.
Oh, that panel 4.
Yeah, we're not doing oopsies. This clone Lex freaked out, but now it's the real Lex and everything's okay. Like I saw that panel and I went, okay, we're really doing this here. So on this page, guys, this is where we actually do get some development. So after the battle has been raging for a little bit, Superman or Superwoman and Lex find themselves, one-on-oneing for a second. And Lex in his crazy cracked Bizarro or XL in his... I just realized that that's Lex backwards. No, shut the fuck. Don't give me that. Don't give me that look. Shut up. Okay. I thought it was trying to do something. He named Connor. Okay. He named Connor Con-L. So I thought they were just trying to do that. Anyway, I can hide you. I can take your camera away. I don't have to look at you ever again.
You can do that.
My show now. No, we can hear him still.
Wow. No, that's okay. That's okay.
Look, we got all the
I
tech
don't think
working.
less of you.
I mean, you do, and you should, but it's nice that you'll say that in public. But yeah, so
this is YouTube. We keep up appearances, right?
Yes, exactly, right? This is all kayfabe. For all you guys know, we are the bestest of friends. You don't know that afterwards we despise each other and we banned each other from our Discords and we don't talk to each other. Yeah, so in this moment, Lex's brain starts cracking, and I'll admit, like, this did make me uncomfortable, and I think that's the point, and so credit to Wade, but Wade tapped back into, they haven't done this in a long time, but there was a period of Superman history where Lex did have like a very strong torch for Lois Lane. Obviously not true love like Clark, but more of that, trophy, like you will be mine, like power play sort of thing.
She was a prize that
prize.
he wanted, and that's all he saw her as, and he didn't like the fact that he couldn't have her.
Yes, and nothing made him ever angrier than when she would just be like, no, right? Like, he'd be like, let's go out or whatever. Not even like go out, but like, be my date to the president's ball or whatever. I'll show you what my plan is. And she goes, nah, I'll catch it on TV. Not even to be like, I'm going to go with Clark or Perry. Just like, I'd rather not even be there. But Wade taps back into that, and this crazy Lex starts going, hey, maybe let's stop fooling around. Why don't you be with me? Ditch the zero, get with the hero. And he starts getting really cracked out, and she says, no, like, absolutely not. And he goes, well then, maybe you'll change your mind after I kill your husband and kill your family. And I loved this moment. So Lex is saying, after I kill you and your husband, I'll find your family. And Lois gets really, like, her eyes go Super Saiyan almost, right? Like, they just start overloading. Lex, and then XL goes, kill that boy of yours. And that's when she goes, no one threatens my family. And we get literally the Dragon Ball Kamehameha when Gohan kills Cell, right? Like, it is going off of the what do you call it? Like the Earth stratosphere, it's atmosphere, it's breaking into space. She just unloads probably the biggest I-beam blast we have possibly ever seen, right? Like her emotions,
or at least seen in a long, long, long time.
I saw it coming from this panel, but when it unleashed, I just went, "Oh yeah, like this is cool," right? And making it even cooler, guys. At least in my opinion, we get to the next page. She has sort of clearly expended all of her energy. Lex is still alive. I liked that, or XL is still alive, and I liked that. Yes, she messed him up and made him bizarro-y, but she couldn't do it. Even probably Clark couldn't do it unloading at that level. And so after that, the XL is just sort of going crazy, ranting, monologuing. It's going like, "You're all a failure." And then, turns to real Lex. "You're not Lex Luthor." And he goes, "But I am." And puts an end to the clone. Just complete cannons his head off.
I like that moment.
I really liked this moment because
even Hero Lex would do that.
Even Hero Lex would do that, and honestly, he explains it to Superman here, and you can't really fault him for it because, Superman freaks out. "What did you do, Luthor? Answer me." And he goes, "I did what you couldn't. The right thing. That's what I do every damn day. XL would have killed me, my daughter, your wife, and every single person in Metropolis. He was broken and never going to stop. You might be the Man of Steel, but you are not the Man of Tomorrow. I am." Like, after that line, I feel if Wade can do it this right, like, or Wade or whoever when subsequent writers get their hands on Lex, this is a dynamic we haven't seen before, right? We have seen Lex always go, "No, I'm you're the Man of Tomorrow. No, it's me. I should be you." We've never seen him go like, "Yes, you're that like Paragon, but I'm the real future." So I'm like, "Oh, might be cool," but obviously we have to see where we go. But after this little confrontation, Lex,
the big reveal,
we get the big reveal that Lois no longer has her powers. She is officially Superwoman no more. And that is, I believe,
the question is, did those powers go back to Zod, which is who she had the powers of, or did they go to somebody else?
And that's what kind of really excites me because what freaking issue was it in? It was in some, it might have even been in like Fractured Spectrum or one of those weird random one-shots, but Zod discovers his powers are gone, and he discovers like that he knows where they are right now. Like, he's learned they're gone, and his computers they're on Earth, moving, like they're in the mate of Kal-El. So he knows where they are, what's going to happen now, right? Like, he's going to come, they're going to fight. Again, it's a lot of this stuff that you do with Superman in general, but especially with what Wade's playing with, it can go so generic so fast. Oh, time traveling Doomsday. Oh, clone Lex. Oh, Zod comes back for revenge.
Oh, love interest of hero gets heroes types powers.
Oh my God,
never seen that before in my life.
Villain has change of heart because of mind problem. Oh, right. All of it can be very generic. At points, it does curve into it, but I think Wade is doing it, at least for me, enough to like keep me hooked in. And there's
this is Williamson.
Here. Oh, that's right. This is Williamson. This isn't Wade. Oh my God. So
Wade's on World's Finest and JLU.
That's
JLU.
Yes, JLU. That's the one that it's because Mora does art on both of them. I knew this was going to happen eventually. I knew I would mix up which books was
He's all over the place.
So yes, let me rephrase all that then. Because this is Williamson is good at this sort of stuff. So I actually trust it a little bit more because we've seen Williamson set things up and follow through on them. And I'd say about 85%, maybe 90% if I've had a couple beers and I'm feeling very, very generous. 85-90% of the time he does maybe not land it like a 9 out of 10 score, but he lands it in a satisfactory way where I go, okay, that works. Very rare that he's just off base. So let's see where we go from here. But in terms of this issue, you guys have heard my thoughts. Beautiful art, some really good moments. Andrew, what are your takeaways? What do you want to talk about?
I mean, I don't really have much else to say other than beautiful art. I'm interested to see where it goes from here. I'm actually glad that Lois lost the powers. I actually can't stand the superhero's love interest gets superpowers trope. For the most part, it's one of my least favorite tropes in comic books or comic book related storytelling.
How do you feel about it? So let me put it this way. I agree with you. I don't like that either. I always think it's a very, very cheap way to get a couple issues or a couple episodes, right? And I'm thinking of when Iris got the Speed Force powers in the Flash show. That was one of the moments where I was just like, come on, like what are
Linda
we doing
got
here?
Speed Force powers when she was pregnant with her and Wally's third kid in the comics fairly recently.
That one I'm okay with, and that's where I'm getting here is, how do you feel if you know it's going to be temporary, right? Like,
if I know it's going to be
temporary, change your view of these stories? I'm not.
It really depends on how it's handled. I still don't love it, but like, if I know that it's something that's tied to something specifically temporary, then I can look at it with that what like when they did it with Linda, it was like, okay, I mean, whatever, it's fine.
See, so admittedly, Linda doesn't fall into what I'm saying because we didn't know if that was going to be temporary. That wasn't really telegraphed. Like this one, pretty telegraphed, right? It's from an event, absolute power, everybody's switching. We knew eventually this would come to an end. The Linda thing, less so. But what I liked about Linda, and I know this is like an asterisk to it all, is that they didn't do the like, let's put her into the field and she's another superhero now, right? She was like, how do I deal with this? Yes, she sort of helped the family out at times, but it was more about like, now I can keep up with my family. I can get work done. And then there's a great issue, surprisingly, that's mostly dialogue where after she loses it, she like doesn't know how to deal with being normal speed again. And so I think they did a lot of good stuff with that with Linda there. Again, asterisk thing. I'm with you though. If you try to convince me like this is going to be a big permanent thing, I never buy it. I always look at it. It always feels cheap. Can you think of a time when it actually worked? And we're talking love interest, guys, not just like female counterparts. So not like Superman and Supergirl or
the same thing.
Or anything like that. We're talking.
There's not a single
Superman
time
loves.
that I can think of that I actually was like, yeah, this really worked really well and I loved it. There's not a single one that comes to mind.
And we also don't mean guys like X-Men, right? Where somebody like Jean and Scott are dating and they both have powers, or Jean's dating somebody and then they get we're talking like, I'm the Flash. Oh, Linda got my Flash powers. I'm Lois. She got my Superman powers. I'm yada yada. Yeah, exactly. You guys know what I mean. I'm right with you. I can't think of a time when that really worked out. I maybe Star Sapphire and Green Lantern, but that to me doesn't count. That's different. Like she was a villain, and yeah, they had similar powers, but they've also defined them separately over the years. I don't know. Now I'm just rambling. That's the best example I can come up with. I'm just defeating my own argument now.
That's fine. We can ramble right on into JLU.
Let us ramble right on into JLU. Let me find it because
there's really only one main thing to talk about with this one.
Well, I would say there's two main things. And one, I know exactly what you're talking about. And the other is me just being a little cheeky and trying to get a setup in. But this is a good jump, like a good transition, between Superman and Justice League, because like that book, not only is this the other Dan Mora title, but in this, I would say less so than Superman this week, but JLU, you and I have been very, very iffy on. I would say if it weren't for that impulse bit last week, you and I might have even just dropped this. Like we might not even be here anymore. But
if last week or week before, whatever it
is, I don't know.
If that issue had been like the ones prior, I'd probably just be like, I'm good.
Yeah, we all would have. Yeah, you and I would have been out. I mean, if you guys want to, you can go check out like the episode. I keep wanting to call it an issue because I call it issues for kayfabe, but whatever. If you go watch that episode, both of us are like, yeah, like thank God for Bart, and we didn't walk away from it going like, okay, I'm back in, but it was more like, you got us to forget that we wanted to like drop this and we wanted to go away from this because we went, oh yay, Bart. But like with Superman, I would, at least on my end, this issue was better, and it made me go, okay, I can sort of see there's more things going on here than we were doing.
I mean, at the very least, it managed to maintain my interest more,
Right.
at least insofar as it gave a couple of answers for things that had just been like, oh, this is supposed to be a mystery, even though it didn't really feel like much of a mystery. We just didn't know the exact reasoning or
Yeah.
why behind it. Um, the whole thing with Airwave, we finally learn about, which is the main thing that really happens in this
Yep.
book. We learned that Airwave was actually. We've known that but since issue 1, we've known that he's some sort of a sleeper agent.
That was a big,
Which was a
you and I
stupid giveaway
criticized
in
it,
issue
yeah.
1. Like, why would you give that away right away? Like, right from jump. What the hell are you doing? But they did that, and all this time we knew, yeah, okay, when are we gonna get to why he's a sleeper agent or what he's actually gonna do? Because it's Airwave. Like, I'm sorry. Like, what's he gonna do when you've got Supes and Flash and Green Lantern and Aquaman and all these other characters part of the team?
Yes.
Most of which could 1v1 him with their one arm tied behind their back and maybe both. And so I'm just over here like, so you've got this kind of punk hero kid as, a sleeper agent for who? Why? What's the deal? We actually learn what that is. We learn
Oh boy.
Inferno that we know nothing about. And Inferno isn't even Inferno. Inferno is actually just
the Legion of
Doom.
But
which
to that end,
they did kind of repair to a degree my thoughts on that in this issue compared to what it was where we ended at last issue. And so we learned that he was actually manipulated by Grodd, which is actually a pretty decent way to go about it. If you're going to do it, okay, fine. Use a telepath, use somebody that can do that. And Grodd he's further enhanced because he also has Martian Manhunter's powers. He's the one who got his powers when he lost his. So, okay, some dots are actually finally starting to connect here. I'm kind of annoyed that it took this many issues to get here. Because I feel like we've wasted a lot of time over absolutely nothing happening so far.
I laugh to myself because this is it's the first page after the title credit page, this one, and it's the JLU. It's 2 different shots of 2 different JLU teams saving random, or they're like stopping random things, right? Monster on one side, some sort of weird alien possession thing on the other. This made me laugh, and it speaks to what you were just saying, because I saw this and I went, this is just what the book's been. Like, here's a team of JLU guys.
Yeah. And here's another team of JLU guys.
And there's another team, and I just went like, oh, that's funny. And then I laughed more once we got to the end, because at first I went, are we really just like putting that in our faces now? Are you guys just finally giving up? But then I smiled more when we got to the end. And we'll get there. So yes, as Andrew was saying, you guys might not will remember Airwave, very obscure superhero from like the 60s, 70s. Wade brought him back for Absolute Power, as he likes to do. After Absolute Power, he joined the JLU, immediately learned he was a sleeper agent, and that has sort of been the only real running thread that's been going through this book is who's controlling him. Like Andrew said, there was that dumb introduction of this mystery Inferno group that was just this, they were introduced kind of dumb because they were like, we're this group you've never heard of. We want world domination. And I remember both of us went, what are we doing here? Like, this is so...
It felt like the most generic superhero subplot I've ever seen in my life.
And we were just like, okay, cool. We do learn more here. Things, to what Andrew was saying, this isn't the type of issue that makes us go, holy crap, this is the book. We are here. But it's not. It's just it's a step above the ones that came before. It makes us go, okay, we don't trust like this book yet. We're still not fans, but it's not as exceptionally terrible as we thought. So yeah, I did like the whole thing where the way Grodd tricks Airwave is by using Martian Manhunter's power. He makes him just see this big ol' illusion where he had to go to the ISS because it was under attack, and he sent out signals to the JLU to help, and none of them came, but Grodd came, and it's one of those generic, like, where were they to help you? Oh, they weren't there, but I was, so let me help you. And he tricks Airwave. I will say, to sort of Wade's credit, at least here, I was glad that it was, how do I put this? Like, I'm glad that, yes, Airwave is being bad, and he did it all on his own, like, decision, but I'm glad it wasn't one of those more, like, oh, but he, you know, he knows what he's doing. He did the bad thing for the right like that sort of story we've been getting a lot. Airwave knows he fucked up. Like we get later on, and he's like, "Oh no, you're like I know the Joker."
No, he
like,
well, like it doesn't.
I did laugh at
like
that.
That's why I say not much actually happens in this issue aside from the reveal of Grodd is the one that was controlling him.
Very
we learned that you know, Airwave sent Grodd because he's filled with all this tachyon energy. He sent him into the past, into the time stream, and that's how Grodd recruited past versions of the Legion of Doom. And so there's actually older versions of the characters, more like evil, like baseline, just general evil versions of the characters.
Sort of like from they're most generically evil, right? Because if you guys remember, you can see here in the top panel, but if you remember last issue, that was one of the big things Andrew and I complained about. We went, okay, the Legion's here, but what the, like, why is Lex evil again? Why is Sinestro not a red? Why is any of this? And that was one of the big criticisms we had. We just like, what? Don't comic books do this, right? Like that's where Andrew and I are coming from. We've seen this billions of times where I'm in the middle of a story. Oh, by the way, crossover, big thing. We need Venom to be Venom again. So screw all that. We're going to throw away. Like, it's up to you.
Screw all the continuity that's happening over in that part of our comic book universe. We're going to make this work just because we have to make it work for this story that we want to tell.
They do it even worse, Andrew. It's like, I'm DC editorial. Like, we're going to take Lex Luthor right now, right? We're going to use him, and he's going to be evil, and he's going to be in his green suit. Over here, Williamson is like, well, okay, what do I do? They don't help him. They just go, you figure it out. Like now you gotta like clean it up, and it's bad.
But Airwave realizes, wait, no, I know who these guys are. These are actually villains. I was right. The Justice League are good guys. Blah blah blah. The Justice League, in the meantime, is actually locking on to his position, and they're actually on their way. And well, Airwave gets iced.
Yeah, he gets below, like he's gone.
That's pretty much where we end.
That is the big thing. We get the JOU has found his location, but yes, completely iced out by Grodd, a smoldering crater on the floor of the Legion of Doom. And yeah, that is sort of all we really get out of this issue. Like we said, not a lot happens. There are good explanations that at least make things make sense, and they don't insult us, right? Like they don't just pull things out of their butt and go, okay, we're good. I mean, the time travel thing is a little butt pulley. You and I were talking about this last night. As a concept, I'm okay with, you know, let's go back in time and get the greatest versions of our heroes, or in this case, the worst versions of our villains. I like that in theory. Here's where I get stuck is I feel like moments like this should only be really used for your big things. Like this should be a crisis thing, right? This shouldn't just be a weird intra We Are Yesterday, Batman, Superman, Justice League crossover. And the more you do it, the more it devalues it. And so I think that's where I'm torn. Because I thought about it after we talked, because you were like, I don't know if I like this. And I was like, I like it. And then I went, but do I like it? And I think, like I like it in theory. Obviously, you know, Wade and Williamson can stand to impress me, and maybe in the next few issues they do something with it that is super cool and original and makes me go, oh, they good on them. But so far it's just sort of cheap, sort of easy, which, okay, you wanted all your villains together for a fight. All right. I mean, there were dumber ways you could have done it. So I guess that's the best thing we can give you.
That's JLU. It was a better issue than the last couple. I'm not going to drop it yet. We'll see how it goes.
I will note credit to, because this isn't Dan Mora. This artist is Travis Moore. But that's unfair.
He's still got the house style.
He's still got the house style, but that's also unfair. I said, let's talk about Travis Moore, and the last preview in this book is the Jorge Jimenez, and that's not fair. But to Trad's credit, I do like that because this is a time travel story. Whenever you see his Joker, so you see him in panel 1 up here. I'll move it in a second, because then Joker panel 1, Joker panel 2 here. He draws him in that old 1940s, like his hair down style, and I'm cool little detail. I'm like, good job. I like that. But yes, that's I think all we have to say about JOU. We're still on for the ride, I guess, but we're aware. We're watching. Our eyes are on you guys.
Pretty much.
But yes, from there, let's see what else we got.
Let's do some Wonder Woman.
You want to do some? Oh man. Oh,
my
man,
book of the week,
guys. Oh, it's not even a competition. Like this book is I can't believe I'm about to say this, but like Kelly Thompson, holy crap. This is probably one of my favorite books right now. It's probably my favorite of the, you know what?
It's my second favorite of the absolute line.
That's where I get torn. I think this issue might have made it enter very like it's catching up to the tail of Superman with this issue. Obviously that'll probably change once we get Superman next week and that's more fresh, but this issue just damn. I just realized we didn't so this is, how do I put this? We didn't talk about the last issue. You were gone for one of them. So in the interest of just quick context, because this week's issue is the second of a two-parter arc, I guess you could call it. If you guys remember, the last time we checked in on Absolute Wonder Woman, Diana had just killed the Tetracide as it was invading whatever the city is that she hangs out of. It's not Coast City, whatever it is. But, it might have actually been Coast City where she was. I don't remember. But she kills the Tetracide, and then if you guys remember, right when she's done, a hole opens up and pulls her down to Hades. And so what we learn in the last month's issue, is that Diana was pulled down to hell by Hades because she escaped. And if you guys remember, like that's sort of the punishment, that's the deal with Zeus putting her down in hell with Circe, is sure, the last Amazon can live, but she's not going anywhere. She has to stay here. So that is where we open. Hades is pissed, saying, how did you get out? Tell me how you got out. And she's going, no, I'm really not going to do that. Like, this is, I have my mission. I'm fighting for good. You're kind of just in my way. I don't answer to you. And so we end this initial issue with the reveal that Hades has Diana's mom, Circe, in captivity. And that is where we left off last week. Before we jump out of this issue, obviously, guys, yes, I jumped over a lot of it. A lot of what this issue is backstory into sort of Diana's training, into her, as much as you and I like to make fun of the concept, this really is the origin story for her stuff issue, where we see how she got her weapon, her horse, all of this stuff. So you don't want me to bore you. I don't need to sit here and do all of this. So if you're reading Absolute Wonder Woman, you know what I'm talking about. It's great. If you're not, check it out. And if you plan on doing it, you will. I think you'll enjoy this issue a lot. Before we jump off of this issue, I do want to highlight this little bit. So when Hades pulls her down initially, he says, take off all your weapons. Or he asks his servant, why did you not take off her weapons? And the servant goes she doesn't have any. And he goes, everything is a weapon. So she has to take off everything, her chest armor thing, her bracers, her bag, her fur, her helmet. And then we see she has 3 different colored lassos. Obviously we've only seen red, but this to me, when I read it last month, I went, oh, might be cool. But anyway, that aside, before I jump, Andrew, anything you want to say about last month's issue?
Last month's issue had the best start of the series so far, and I want more of it. But this week's issue.
Yes, this week's issue, and then we had fun little Dustin Nguyen comics. He's great. He good.
The
guy.
art's cute. The art's cute for sure.
Art's cute. I mean, it's also
and it has a similar vibe because it's still written by Kelly Thompson. It has a similar vibe actually to the Jeff comics.
Oh my, you're right.
She's just doing the Jeff vibe stories in those little 1-page or 2-page strips.
You are so right. Okay, yeah. No, I'm just sort of because I walked away from these going these are fine, but I really like them, and that she's just good at
That's
these.
why.
I guess she's great at these little one-ers, these one-shotters.
Yep. She's great at the little 1 or 2-page tongue-in-cheek things.
Let's see. Yes, but cute little Diana aside. Oh God. Before this is an aside I've been meaning to speak to you about for 9 years. This ad was running in the back of all the issues like the last 2 weeks. It's for this whatever graphic novel for kids. Yes, they're race swapping Jimmy again. It's dumb. But all that aside, I wanted to point out to you, what the fuck? Like, so this art, man, it's supposed to be like that's the light on top of his hair, like making it like, you know, a lighter shade.
Instead, it's no different in color palette to his face and his skin, and so it just looks like the only hair he has is right here. It's awful. That is absolutely awful.
It's been bugging me ever since, and yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I have nothing else to say about it, but just that it is bad. Oh, it is Coast City. Check that
it's
out.
Coast City.
Wow, it was Coast City. I wasn't sure. It's, you never know if it's Coast City or Happy Harbor or whatever it could be these days. But our DC geography questions aside, doesn't matter because we spend this issue in hell. Yes. So picking right back up where that last issue left off, we learn that to escape from hell, to escape from this punishment, or to save her mom, Diana has to compete in basically a gladiatorial arena under Hades' command. And as she fights, you know, she's eventually victorious. She wins. And, you know, after killing her opponent, Hades says,
which she didn't want to do.
Yeah. I want to get into it, like, because there's just so much of her character in this one, man. Like, I know you and I are gonna have a lot of the same praise. Yeah.
This one shows a lot of Diana, even this Diana that grew up living in Hades, that she still has Diana's gentle heart deep down.
It's Diana's gentle heart, and there's also, she is so formal and so like in a good way about things, right? Like in here. Yes, like Hades is like, kill her, and she could have just been like, no, I won't do that, like, forget that, and had an inner monologue to us, or just left to fight immediately. But she's so diplomatic, right? Like, if you force me to kill her, like, for nothing but sport, you're not a god, and you will draw like a fateful line between us. And she gives him the chance to, you know, answer, and he does. And you see that a lot through the series so far. Like, we talked about it in the last arc where, you know, we see her actively like praying and doing incantations and giving thanks for the help she gets from all of the gods or goddesses. And I don't know exactly what it is about it. I still got to think on it, but something about that I really, really like for her character. Especially, I feel like I asked you this question like 2 days ago for something completely unrelated, but you played God of War, right? The new ones?
I played
like the first one.
I played the first one. I haven't played Ragnarok.
So what my feeling is, and I especially got this from last issue, you know, where Diana is hopping through her memories, and we're going to like Prometheus on the mountain, and we're going to the basilisk. This feels almost like a less pretentious version of God of War, and one I would more care about, right? Where I see like Kratos and Atreus and stuff. A lot of that is,
there's a little Clash of the Titans in there too, but
yeah, there's a little Clash of the Titans, but it feels like in God of War, it's almost like Kratos is a modern guy, like from down the street, thrown into that setting. You know, he's not. Yes, there are the gods, but nobody's doing temple incantations or talking about their followers, and you never see any of them or any of that stuff. But here, you have Diana going to these mystic, like when she went to Prometheus, he is still that giant chained to the mountain thing, but she, you know, she's able to cut his chain. She's able to talk to him. She's able to interact. You and I were talking a few weeks ago about like, what do you do with Diana, right? Like, why is she kind of not getting the big boost that she always does? And one of the points both of us hit on was like, well, she does like the Greek myth stuff, but she doesn't do anything fun with it. It just sort of is like, I'm Zeus, I'm in a toga. Great. Like the same depiction we've all seen for hundreds and hundreds of years. And I think you were the one who was like, it shouldn't be that hard to do a good twist on Greek mythology. And
no, there's only 8 million different twists on Greek mythology, you know, in fiction. Pick one.
And to, you know, to Kelly's credit, I think she's found one. She's not necessarily, you know, discovering
she's not reinventing the wheel here.
Exactly.
She's taking versions of these characters from not only their own more direct mythologies, but also different retellings and other fictions that have been done with them. And she's kind of amalgamizing them into
Oh yeah.
this story of her own, which is that's fine. That's what
Oh
good
yeah.
writers know how to do. And she's showing herself to be a good writer, at least on this book. And I'm really enjoying it. I liked the tie back that they did here to where when she was a little girl, her mother was trying to get her to
Yes.
look deeper into the meaning of this story, this fairy tale that she was telling her. And that
Hold,
comes
before you keep going, just because I wanted to touch this, and I was setting it up because I wanted you to do it because you're better about summarizing this stuff, and even I'm a little bit of like, where are we going? So you took the lead before I even had to set you up. Keep going.
okay. Yeah, so Cersei basically has this book she comes across that's telling a story of what is it, the princess and the tiger, the princess or the tiger,
the
lady or the tiger, yeah. And so she tells this story to Diana that's about this princess who has this man that she falls in love with, and this man is not a prince, he's not royalty, but because her father or the gods don't like this pairing, they throw him into an arena to have to fight to the death, and he has to eventually choose a door. Should he, come out on the other side successful in just that challenge, he then has to pick the correct door to go through, and one of those doors leads to death, one of them leads to life, but he's going to live out the rest of his days with a different woman, and that's something that breaks this princess's heart, right? But that's not even actually the point. What the point was that the princess was going to give a slight nod to whichever door was the safe door for this man that she loved to go through so that he could live, even though it was going to break her heart because he was going to go through and live out his days with another woman, right? But he would be alive. Yes. That was the important part. That was the poignant part, because that's what Cersei does for Diana once she succeeds in the arena in front of Hades and kills this kind of tiger lady. I think it was meant to be kind of a pseudo callback to Cheetah. I think it was kind of meant to be like, oh, we're sort of doing this. It's not a one-to-one for sure.
No, but like the subtle setting up of like Diana fights tiger or like cat ladies.
that and I think just like similar imagery for sure, like to give you an idea of like, oh, hey, yeah, we know that she has a villainess that's kind of like this, right? And so she does that, and her mother slightly nods, almost imperceptibly, but Diana can tell, to the correct door. And this door is the one that's going to allow her to leave Hades and go back to the surface world, right? Go back to the normal world. However, Diana had set things up properly to where she was able to still save her mother as well. She didn't have to walk away and leave her mother chained up to Hades for all eternity either, but she did still have to leave her mother on the Wild Isle.
And this is the kind of stuff.
So it was very bittersweet.
This is what I love over, like, yes, knockdown, drag down fights can be awesome, but this is what I love out of, like I like in shonen comics and stuff when, yeah, you could Kamehameha everything, but let's, use the environment. Let's, use our brains. Let's use our techniques. So for those of you who don't know the story, basically Persephone, the goddess, she plants these trees of life essentially throughout the world. If you eat one, they're cursed. Every seed you eat is 1 month out of every year that you have to spend in hell. So if you ate 2 of these pomegranate things, 2 months every year, you got to go to hell. So in the competition, Diana, when she wins, the king Hades goes, all right, here's your choice. You can either stay in hell and be here forever and see your mom, or you leave. Or no, not even see your mom. You stay here in hell and like she dies, or you leave and she lives, but you can never come back to see her ever again. And she goes, okay, I'll leave. But because of the rule, she like gets this like workaround, and Hades, does the thing where he's like, you've made an enemy this day, right? Like I like when that happens, when like even the bad guy is
fires back with saying, no, you did too.
Yeah.
And that's also the other side of Diana, because Diana, while she has a gentle and beautiful heart, she also is still a peerless warrior. And if, push comes to shove, she will push your shit in.
Yes.
If she has to. That's not what she necessarily wants to have to do, but she can and she will.
Well, that's where we see from visually probably my favorite moment of the book, because we get our Super Saiyan Diana where her power just goes crazy. But after Hades says, kill her, Diana, she, kills her, gives her this prayer, like really is like goddess, protector, like really deep prayer. And then she just turns to Hades, lights up, and is like, we're not playing games anymore. Like, you either honor the rules or I'm going to unleash everything. And it's just,
I'm gonna unleash Hades on your ass.
Yeah. And like, this is the other thing too, right? Like, I don't have the term for it, but you and I keep hitting on it. But it is that balance of Diana between being like, I am this powerful god, essentially, even though she's a demi, whatever you want to call her, and like being a benevolent, loving just spirit, right? Because here she lights up, she goes Super Saiyan 3, she's ready to go, and she's telling Hades, like, it is unjust, you do not deserve this, it is shameful, you will have your reckoning, but it's not today. Let's continue with what we're doing. And it's like the poise, I guess, the
well, she threatened him and then was confident enough to say, but I'm not doing it right now.
Yeah, that's
just keep it in mind.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to like get a beat on here, because how I can easily see in like the Earth 1, Earth Prime, whatever it is, this could have ended with her just like slugging Hades, right? And Hades gets knocked down and she gives some sort of like, don't mess with me speech, not like a girl power one, but just a very generic like, don't mess with good people speech, and that's done. But here,
Earth Prime hasn't done squat with Diana in years.
She's in Justice League, I guess. That's all we've really got.
Oh, doesn't have much presence
Tom King.
in it.
I totally that. I was like, for a second I was gonna be like, she hasn't had a book in ages, but she has one.
No, she still hasn't had a book in ages.
Yeah, no, exactly. I don't know why they've gone 2 years without giving anybody a Diana book. It's very, very strange. But yes, guys.
This is a fantastic book so far. I cannot
good.
recommend it enough. The art in that first arc was rough for me. Like, it was not my favorite thing in the world.
You're not going to be happy,
the paneling,
they're coming back.
The paneling was good. Yeah, I know.
Hades
the paneling was
yeah.
good, but the art itself was not my jam. However, this arc, like this 2-issue like mini arc, this 2-parter, the art was beautiful and the story was still really good. And I'm really looking forward to the next one.
De Iulis, Iulis, and he did the colors and he did everything. This is literally just him and Thompson. So
that's
good on you guys.
Really impressive. There are very few triple threats out there in comic books.
And
like, you'll have a lot of pencilers, maybe a lot is being generous. You'll have some pencilers that'll also do their own inks because
nowadays,
they don't trust. Well, it's because they can request a better rate.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
They could do both, right? And it still winds up being cheaper for the publishers than paying a penciler and an inker separately. So so that it's a win-win. Honestly, it's a win for the artist and it's a win for the publisher that has to pay the bill. However, a triple threat is extremely rare. And so the fact that there was one on this book was like really impressive, and the book itself was just impressive overall. This is a really good 2-parter. The Absolute Wonder Woman book itself is just one of the best books at DC right now. It pisses all over Tom King's work. I don't need to have even read it to know that, because Tom King sucks. So I cannot recommend this book enough, just like I can't recommend Absolute Batman and Absolute Superman enough. Absolute Flash, jury's still out.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're
not
see.
impressed.
We're still iffy on it.
Yeah, I'm not impressed yet.
And
but
I know you don't care about the
fair,
Lantern, and I, as someone who read Lantern, very bad. I know you don't care about Manhunter. I really like Manhunter, but that is a book very much like Ultimate X-Men that is going to be very specific. Like, your mileage will very much vary on whether.
And that one has a very specific target demographic, and the people that it's made for will really love it, and the people that it's not,
that's
no
the best
interest.
way to put it. Yep, that's the best way.
It's a book that knows their audience, and their audience does love it. But this book is absolutely worth your time.
Yeah, no, I agree. I will sadly say there is one criticism I do have to give. I don't know if this was apparent in the print versions, but in all the digital versions, and this includes the ones that like DC officially uploaded, the ones that my Pakistani homie hooked me up with. We haven't seen this in a while. but it might be hard for you to make out, Andrew, but I think everybody at home might be able to see it better. The entire book is filled with the guidelines for placing the word bubbles, and I mean, like, it is all of the book. Like, you know, that was that one page. There's more. Like I just went back one page with
I didn't
Hayes.
even notice those.
And that's what I mean. Like, I don't know if this is only something they did for the digital. Like, maybe they uploaded the wrong file, but I definitely noticed it. It's so minimal, and I even hate.
I didn't notice those at all on mine, and I'm too lazy to reach over 2.5 feet to my short box that has my DC Absolute books in it. But I don't remember noticing that.
And that,
there. But if it is in the print versions as well, oof. It's not like errors never happen. Some people like to pretend like errors never happen unless it's done by, I don't know, the Rippaverse.
Well,
that
I mean,
we're the only
do that on purpose. You don't know.
We're the only company to ever have had any error ever in the history of comic books. No, it happens at the big two all the time. In fact, you would be less likely to find a single issue in a week that doesn't have some error in it, even if it's on a minor level. There's something there. However, that's kind of an oof. But hey, look, it happens. It's
happens.
Unfortunate. It's annoying. It didn't ruin the story, and it didn't ruin the beautiful art.
Exactly. Yeah. To me, I like cautioned even bringing it up, but, you know, intellectual honesty, and also it's something you and I have talked about before. It happened. It does not detract from anything. It is not that distracting, even if you see them there. But it happened. Hopefully they'll fix that for the trade version, which they tend to do. But with that, yes, Absolute Wonder Woman. Everybody, get in on this book. At least the Absolute Trinity so far, so dang good. And I think it's time for us to hop from DC over to Marvel.
Let's wrap up with Amazing Spider-Man.
I guess we started on Marvel with X-Men. Look, that's how stupid that book is. I completely forgot we even talked about it until I sat here and tried to remember the day. But yes, guys, it's the moment you've all been waiting for. Of course it is. It is Spider time here on Foil Variant, one of two superheroes you know you will get a very, very in-depth conversation out of the two of us about. We are back with the second issue in the latest volume of Amazing Spider-Man. We are in volume 7. Completely stupid. Don't even get me started on it. We don't have enough time here. But as you guys know, picking up off of the Zeb Wells run, we have Joe Kelly and Colin Lansing. Or no, that's the other team. We have Joe Kelly and Pepe Larraz here.
Correct.
And Marte Gracia on colors, but we have that creative team over here. If you guys remember, did we talk about we did talk about the last issue. We did talk about the last issue. Did. If you guys remember this era of Spider-Man, or at least where we are right now in the last issue, Peter is back on the job hunt. He was getting rejected from a bunch of places. They literally redid the scene from the opening of Brand New Day. He eventually gets a job from an old childhood friend who we have never seen before, that we had no idea existed. It turns out, you know, we learn in that issue that whatever their friendship was, you know, they got into a lot of trouble.
It was all based on mischief.
Yeah, mischief. Peter got into a fight, all this sort of fun stuff. And at the very end, if you guys remember, you know, at halfway through the book, Rhino starts rampaging. Peter goes to fight him. We get those, Andrew and I talked about, you know, some of the dialogue is okay there, but then there's the shoulder ibuprofen joke that we were just like, what are we doing here? After that, you know, he tries to investigate, says, what's up with the Rhino? Let me go check out his apartment. And if you guys remember, that's when we end the issue on a giant hallucination of all of his rogues gallery. If you guys remember, that was when I discovered Chasm was still being referenced by everybody. But yeah, if you guys, and then we ended there. Andrew and I walked away from that issue going, very, very dumb that we're right back specifically here at this square one of I'm Peter, I'm broke, I can't get a job. You guys don't need us to go into that. You know how stupid it is. It is the mutants are oppressed angle of Spider-Man. And we loved the Pepe Larraz art. You really cannot go wrong with him on a book. At the end, we were kind of going, what the hell is happening? You know, it was a beautiful splash page, but was he hallucinating? Was it an enemy thing? Was he just going crazy? We didn't know.
Was it a Mysterio illusion?
That was one of the things I think you put up. You're like, it might be Mysterio. At the time, no idea. So picking back up here, we find out, or, you know, we have Peter still in the throes of his whatever is going on. He's seeing all of his enemies chasing him, and it turns out that he is sort of how do I set this up? The flow of the issue is just as confusing as how I'm trying to set up.
The flow of the issue is not very clean.
Yeah, and I'm trying to make it good for everybody out there, so that I don't want to ever have to go, everybody go open up your books and follow along. So yes, Peter has this hallucination. He thinks he's under attack by his rogues gallery. We start cutting in and out of Peter's day. He starts, you know, 1 second he was fighting, next second he's at his new job learning about the place he's going to be in. Another second he cuts away to an old memory of being in childhood. Next he finds himself on the top or on the roof of his new building being attacked by the Green Goblin. So all of this keeps unfolding, and we learn that it is actually a plot. It is a hallucination. It is a hallucinogenic toxin sort of thing that got administered to him by Itsy Bitsy, who, if you guys don't know who this is, we'll get into it in a second when we get to the end of the issue. Itsy Bitsy delivered the toxin on the orders of Roderick Kingsley, the Hobgoblin, who is our... We have known this. Kelly has talked about this. He is our main villain for this arc. I'm not a fan of ever, like, you know, he's supposed to be dead, so I feel like he should stay dead. But hey, Hobgoblin, at least
those comics.
At least it's not, you know, Norman. At least it's not Doc Ock. At least it's not, you know, whatever
Kindred.
movie villain is coming. Yeah, at least it's not Kindred. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so we learned that Peter is actively hallucinating because of these toxins. You know, earlier in this splash page over here, or in this page over here, when he's rampaging through New York, it turns out that he's actually just like smashing cars up and freaking out, and everybody saw it on the news. So in service of trying to find out what is going on with him, No, I had to take a drink of water. He swings over to Ravencroft, where Rhino is being held for recovery, to see if he can get any answers to what's going on. And while there, he starts having his hallucinations, and his spider sense start freaking out. And that is when he discovers Itsy Bitsy, who I just said is the deuteragonist, I guess, if you will. She's here. She's apparently looks like she's going to stab Juggernaut. We don't exactly know. But that is where the A plot, I guess you could say, ends. For those of you...
You mean Rhino?
Did I say Juggernaut?
You said Juggernaut, yeah.
I knew that in my head, too. I was like, oh, I see Juggernaut. Don't say that. Dumb me. But yes, Rhino. For those of you who don't know who Itsy Bitsy is, she is a Joe Kelly original. She is a clone that is half Spider-Man, half Deadpool, with all of their powers and cannot be killed. She was introduced in the Spider-Man Deadpool book he did a couple years ago, it's fun. She very much felt like she was one of those like just gimmick things that was made for the book to make you go, oh wow, there's something going on over here. They've never, like, this is the first time we've seen her since then. Nobody has referenced her. So this is clearly one of those, just like, the author made the character, bring her back.
So they're going to, so he's going to use her again. Which,
well,
I guess,
it's what Zeb Wells did. It's what Zeb Wells did with Paul and his dad. Like, he introduced those guys.
And to be fair, depending on how your royalty deals work when you're, a contract worker, if you create a character and that character gets utilized in a book and that book makes money, then you make some sort of residual on the back end for that. So why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, why
Ideally, you would do that only where it makes sense. And so far, there's nothing to suggest that this doesn't work here. Right now, more of the concern is just like, why are we here in general? Because we're retreading old territory, specifically old territory that we didn't like the first time we retreaded it. But the big deal with this
so
book, which
let's
I
get
think
into
what people
that.
are actually waiting, because not much actually happens in this book, aside from the flashback that we see, which is what everybody really wants to hear us talk about, which is there is actually, and this was what we alluded to at the beginning of the show, which was the one thing that rubbed both of us drastically the wrong way out of all of our books in our stacks this week, was a retcon to Peter's childhood.
A pretty significant one. So yeah, you know, Andrew and I are, as far as the general book goes, we're I wouldn't say divided, but I'd say Andrew's a little more open to it than I am.
I'm willing to see where Joe Kelly goes with it, but at least in terms of like the Spider-Man stuff, I hate everything that's happening with Peter right now.
I'm only talking that part.
Yeah, the stuff that's going on with Peter right now, it's like, this is stupid. I hate what we're doing here.
But yeah, so like the Spider-Man stuff, it's comic books. We can let a lot of it slide. I personally like the framing of is he hallucinating? What's going on? Like, I like that confusion bit. That's cool. But yes, where we again, not a big disagreement, not enough of it for us to go, oh, we're gonna, hate each other forever.
It's a knockdown, drag out fight now.
Oh, here we go. It's time. Everything comes full circle. But
I'm gonna do a 5-hour Mav trash talk stream now on my YouTube channel and hope I get super chats on my non-monetized YouTube.
What you're gonna do one? You mean you're gonna quit the Rippaverse and make that your full-time job, right? Because that
sounds like
really
a great full-time job to me. That sounds like a great use of my time.
I can't wait to fund the caffeinated wolf wrap on whatever. Not forget derby cars. Let's get it on a monster truck. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, guys, the bigger thing here is if we separated out the Spider-Man stuff, it's really dumb and we're retreading stuff, but it's also not offensively dumb. It's just sort of there, right? Like it's again, there's potential that Joe Kelly could do, but as it stands, this is Spider stuff we've seen before. Peter can't get a job. He doesn't know, what's real or what's not. He's being pursued by two of his enemies. All cool. Like again, I might not be a fan of how it's playing out now, but on paper, it's fine. Like Andrew noted, the big deal with this book is they've decided this run is going to really focus on Peter Parker's childhood. And, not his high school years, but specifically, preteen, 6 or like 10 to 13, 14-year-old Peter Parker. And obviously this is being done because they can't do anything else. It's the Star Wars problem, right?
Yeah.
Because Brevoort and Nick Lowe go, we can't let him grow up. We can't let him advance. We can't let him do anything. The only real place you can play around and tell stories anymore is in his youth and focusing on that youthful part. Like after Joe Kelly fleshes this out, for better or worse, there's no gaps anymore, unless you do one of those miniseries they used to do in the 90s where it's like the untold story of the 4 months between issue 231 and 236 or crap like that.
And make no mistake, they will do something like that at some point down the line, because they always do. It will happen. We revisit stories in the past all the time, or try and retell things like freaking, what was it? Shadow of the Goblin, right? Was basically just telling a story during an early point in, Peter's career as Spider-Man. And the story was fine. It wasn't anything amazing. It wasn't great. I didn't hate it, but I was just like, okay, so that was a mini. And I'm glad it wasn't anything more than that.
You just made me sad, because now I remember that's what's going to happen to Emma, and we're sadder that nothing is going to happen in Emma's mini.
It's exactly going to do, because they're refusing to actually just address her in the month. I'm not going to go on an Emma rant.
I know we could go
Amazing Spider-Man.
Woo! I played her last night for the first time, and she's amazing, and I only want to use her forever. Anyway,
I will hit you.
So we can talk about we can flip coins, all right, and I'll give you a 2-time advantage. It's only
draw straws.
Yeah, exactly. But there will be like 4 short ones with my name and like 1 with yours, right? Like that's only fair.
That seems amicable.
Right. As we touched on, recapping last issue, Peter gets a job from this old friend named Brian, like Nearing or something, and yeah, troublemakers, got into fights, all that fun stuff. In this issue, as Peter is hallucinating, as he's going through his day, he starts having more flashbacks. And these flashbacks are, you know, let's just get into them before we talk about it. So the first one is while Peter is trying to battle against all of his rogues, he flashes back to a time when him and Brian, you know, ditched class to go read nudie magazines, right? Okay, all right. So they're over there doing that. We go a little bit further. We get another flashback of Peter running from the police after having stolen beer and candy and other assorted snacks from a local bodega. And then we have one more flashback where also, okay, so this flashback happens in Ravencroft when Spidey goes to look at Rhino. This woman that Spidey talks to here, this is supposed to be Shay. Like,
that's supposed to be Shay. Yeah. His not girlfriend or something. I don't know. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about Shay.
Well, nobody.
Fewer people care about Shay than they do Paul.
That is true.
And that's an impressive thing to accomplish.
That is a hell of a metric. But like, I forgot that she was even a Ravencroft thing. Like, that was. I who cares? Like I can't even remember that part of her history because she's just such a nonsense character. My bad. Yeah, sorry about that, but had to send a message. Yes, in Ravencroft, we get the final flashback, which is Peter having been apprehended by one of the police officers, and Uncle Ben and Aunt May have to come pick him up, and he does the sort of typical, like, you're not my parents, don't tell me what to do, leave me alone, and he runs out.
Right, which we've seen out of Peter in other situations before, but it's usually when he's more of a teenager and is in more of that almost Spider-Man or is Spider-Man kind of age and era.
Yeah.
And there's more going on with him, and it's more impactful when it happens then, rather than this weird thing where they're doing this with him as a child, and these two are like all he has. And that's not to say that it's impossible to believe that a young Peter who has lost his parents could not have some sort of an emotional episode or moment where he does have that outburst at Aunt May and Uncle Ben. That's actually not necessarily the issue here.
No.
It's actually all the other stuff around it. The whole, like, Peter being kind of a delinquent and stealing things. and also having friends. Like, he was a freaking loner. He was a loser. He didn't have friends. And he certainly wasn't a thief. He certainly didn't have a friend that encouraged him to be a thief and steal things and get into trouble and look at, adult magazines and also, like, cursing and things like that. It was super weird. Everything that was done with young Peter in this issue rubbed me really, really wrong.
So I agree. Like, yes, this was my biggest takeaway from the issue was, like, you guys don't really know. So how do I frame this? You're completely right. And what I think it is it's this. So if we go back to, how do I frame this? Okay. You are, I believe you are lucky enough, right? Like, your parents are still together. Like, they're like, you're going to go visit both of them when you go out there, right?
I will be visiting both of them next week, and that's why I won't be here.
Yeah, exactly. No, so that's
breaking
awesome.
the 2 or 3 week streak.
Like, but, as somebody who, my parents were divorced, they both remarried. I understand this aspect of you are troubled. You maybe don't really, you act out. You're a troublemaking kid. I get that. Like, I was there.
That's something a lot of people can vibe with and empathize with.
The problem is, like, yes, could I foresee a young Peter doing this, like you said, especially at least right here, the, you're not my parents thing. I absolutely can. The problem is,
we saw Tobey Maguire's Peter saying, stop trying to act like my father, stop pretending to be my father, right? It's not like that specific thing is something we haven't seen before.
Didn't Andrew Garfield say something about that too when he was doing the whole suitcase thing?
Did.
I feel like he said that to, like, Aunt May, and that was one of the...
He did when he had the moment when he stormed out and shattered the glass door when he left.
That's right, like right after,
which was leading up until leading up to when Uncle Ben dies there, which was done extreme. Like, the acting was peerless out of everyone on screen in that scene.
I just wish that setup for why Ben gets killed was better executed. It's so stupid. Acting is fantastic. Andrew's fantastic. It's just, like, no, I just bought a chocolate, like whatever that Yoo-hoo milk setup was like not, it just didn't work for him. At least in my opinion. But back to Amazing, I think my bigger problem here is like, yeah, we've seen Peter do this, but in terms of like the delinquency, in terms of, you know, really acting out, I covered this for Bounding, and I kind of got carried away because in every adaptation, you know, go out on the street right now, guys. Go to ask anybody. You could ask, you know, your mom, your best friends. You could ask Taylor Swift, and you say, "Tell me something about Spider-Man." You know, anything you know about Spider-Man. And, you know, after they go, he shoots webs, he crawls on walls, you're probably going to get within one of the first 5 like facts. He was like a nerd. He was, you know, a dorky teenager who didn't have friends, and then he got his power. Like, that is something we all know. And, you know, obviously Andrew and I, we love the Ultimate books and we love the Absolute thing. So we're not against different takes on our characters that as they've been established. The problem is, as we've talked about these past few weeks, you've got to at least make that character recognizable to who that character is. Unless your goal is like, we are just going completely off the walls for, like, we're doing Marvel Apes or whatever, right? We're just gonna go completely batshit. But
or doing what's it called? The whatever Earth number it is, I can't remember, and I'm not interested enough to remember. But the one where
2.
Peter like becomes just
mind.
a bunch of spiders, and he's like the super horrific one, right? That was in Spider-Verse, that one. And it's just like completely far afield take. Yeah, okay, fine, whatever. But this is taking something that's supposed to be main universe and drastically altering it on a very kind of subatomic level almost, because we're going that far back into Peter's youth, that his childhood. And so adding these other things into it feels really wrong to me. Like, I don't have a problem with him storming out on Aunt May and Uncle Ben.
Not at all.
Because I've seen that a million times already out of Peter. Like that's whatever to me.
And
that's
that
just do the scene well. But everything else around it doesn't add up.
Well, like, to your point, yes, that storming out, that attitude out of Peter, I bring this up to you a lot. Like, Peter that's what we know of him. In Amazing Fantasy 15, he's kind of an asshole. He's not just
he's a bit of a dick.
Like, he's very, very much like like, screw you guys. So here, like, you're not wrong with that one. I think, so I like your mention of, you know, at a, whatever you said, like a DNA, biological, chemical level, that this is like altering him. And that was sort of my takeaway from this too, because, you know, when I think of Peter Parker, and we talk about, you and I talked about this last week, I think of, you know, a character I could relate to. You know, he was a nerd. He was sort of downtrodden. He was a little sad half the time. He wasn't the most popular guy, but he, you know, strived and he grew and he eventually got the babe and he got the Parker Industries and all this stuff. Like, that element of him being like so meek, that was like what a lot of us related to. And at least in my case, you know, how do I put this? Yes, maybe in real life, a kid would go out in Peter's situation and steal a bunch of beer and, you know, sneak away to read nudie magazines. But I always sort of saw, like, you know, more like DC more than Marvel. And I know I'm stuttering here, so try to like follow me, guys. But it's like, you know, these heroes should be aspirational. Yes, it might be a little unrealistic, but that's comic books, right? Like that's, yes, not in real life, a kid might do this. I've always sort of expected that's never what a Peter would have done, right? Like, he maybe he would have stormed out, and maybe he would have like snuck out to go to the Xbox midnight launch if we want to like update things or whatever, right? But he's never, I know, but he's never like going out and doing criminal mischief. And when you mentioned that, like, DNA changing, so my big takeaway was we talked a lot about how, like, corporatization makes it so like all these characters like Disney just wants them to be marketing things, right? They don't want these things to change outside of what a lot of people know. But what they're doing here, and this is what it feels like to me, is they're trying to make Peter the everyman relatable character so that everybody can identify with him, so that everybody can you know, buy his merch, buy his costume. And I don't
that's
even
what it is it comes across as very synthetic,
yeah,
like literal sense, where it's like they're trying to put in every situation that anybody ever could find themselves in, and that's how they relate. That's not what an everyman
yes,
character is. An
no,
everyman character is taking universal baseline emotions and situations and struggles that anybody could relate to on some level. It doesn't always have to be at the same level. They could relate to that, and they
yeah,
could see, you know what, I get it. I understand this character. I get what he's going through right now because I've gone through something like that to some degree or another. It doesn't have to be a one-to-one. It never had to be.
no,
Um, and so adding in this kind of a weird, like, we're gonna retell his childhood and throw in like, oh well, yes, I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who, you know, they grew up in maybe broken homes and they struggled and it was incredibly difficult, and therefore maybe they found themselves in situations that they otherwise wouldn't have, and they made a bad call, and so yeah, maybe they did try and swipe something from a
I mean, hey,
convenience store
I
or
will admit it
whatever.
here. I again, like this Peter, that's me on the page. That's not who Peter should be. That was like, this
Yeah,
is my childhood I'm seeing play out. That's never what I ever would have. I don't want Peter to have the
it's
same
not
childhood as
Peter.
me. Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's
yeah.
what I feel like, especially with, you know, as we talked about last week, they're trying to make him look more like Tom Holland, whether it is in the comics or in the video game, or as I showed you on the Magic the Gathering card set that they're doing. They're like, they want him to be just everything. They're stripping everything unique about Peter away from him. There's no,
Yeah.
now he's just an everyman in the literal sense, where he is everybody. Like, he was a troublemaker, he was a nerd, he had lots of girlfriends, he had no girlfriends, he was smart, oh, he actually struggled. And it's like, what the hell is like, why? We know, I know this is again me yelling on the cliff while you are here in our Shakespearean play, but it's like every other character can, like even when Brave, like, you know, when somebody wants to run roughshod over John, like when, let's say Tom Taylor, when he, you know, made John Kent grow up and turned him gay out of nowhere, there was still like he was still John. He didn't turn into everybody. They still kept him as that character. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying. I guess my big takeaway is this isn't Peter anymore, and I don't know, man. That I guess that's really where I'm. You'll probably have a better like closing thought because you always do, but it's not.
Well, I don't know if
Peter,
I'd
it's
say
just...
always. Well, I think what we're seeing here is a realignment of Peter's childhood to bring him in line with present day adult Peter, which is not Peter.
Yeah,
So
that's a good
adult
point.
Peter right now is not Peter, and he hasn't been for a while. But right now, it, in combination with like the last two runs that we've seen, whether it was Zeb Wells or who freaking wrote
Spencer.
the Spencer,
Yeah, Nick
like
Spencer.
we've had a lot of not Peter, adult Peter, and now they're realigning young Peter with that. And they're adding in a lot of stuff that just makes it so it's an unrecognizable character. And the sad part is we see out of Joe Kelly when Peter's in the suit and he's facing off against Rhino or these other bad guys, like he's the writer has Joe Kelly's a good writer. He has the voice for Spidey. He can write Spidey all day. And it's perfectly fine.
Really good at him.
It's not mid, it's not serviceable. It's like you might have a line or two there where it's like, you might have forced that one. I don't think that landed quite as well. But then you look at everything else and you're like, man, like you get this. And then you look at everything with Peter and you're just like, what is happening? And so what it is right now, that shows a perfect dichotomy between who Spider-Man is and who Marvel editorial, specifically the Spider-Man office, is trying to force Peter to be, which is not himself.
Which is not himself, and I don't even know, right? Like I guess that's probably where my train of thought crashes, is who are they trying to turn him into? Right? Like,
I don't know.
And that's,
I really don't know.
That's where I think my brain is, like, because we've seen in comic books before, like, oh, you're trying to turn Daredevil into Batman because Batman's popular right now, or whatever, right?
Or
like
Green Arrow into Batman. CW did that.
Yeah, the CW did that. We've all seen that, or just like maybe not even another comic book thing. Like you're trying to turn this into Edward and Bella or whatever. Like that happens. It's not always great, but at least I know I can go like, oh, I see that's who you're trying to turn them into. I don't know what the end game is here, and that I guess it makes me, I guess, not worry because I don't really have hopes or care about this book specifically, right?
Yeah, I
Like,
don't have much investment in mainline Spidey anymore. Like all my investment is in the Ultimate Universe when
that's
it comes
exactly
to
what I was
Spidey.
gonna say. Like
Because they're giving me everything that I want right now.
they're giving you a specific Peter who is an actual character who is allowed to grow. Like my fear here, or again, not fear because whatever with this book, my curiosity, I guess, is if they just keep adding, if they don't have a plan, if they're not going like, okay, we're gonna take Peter from nerd to, again, specifically like jock, right? Like we're gonna do that. If they're just saying we're gonna take Peter from nerd and less nerd, well then are they just gonna keep adding things to his character until my joke about him being literally everybody is just true? And this is Marvel. I can see them doing it, and it doesn't inspire a lot of confidence, and it makes me just, yeah, like I that brief glimmer of hope we had when Wells was gone has immediately dried up, and I'm still here because again the Spidey voice is good. Pepe Larraz's art is
I'll stick for this through this first arc so long as Pepe Larraz is on the entire thing.
the entire
I'll tell you
thing,
what,
Marvel, the entire thing.
If issue 4, if I crack that open and it's some other chump, and it's not Pepe Larraz, I'll be like, nah, I'm good.
If you
Because
crack
the story
it
is
open
not
and it's Marcos Martin, the other Marcos Martin.
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say not the god tier Rippaverse colorist, but the guy who did the last issue of Absolute Batman,
See,
who is
I wouldn't make
absolutely lucky that the writing was so good for that issue.
I wouldn't make a Rippaverse like scheduling joke because then you would go, excuse me, actually they don't have time. All right, I actually know the behind the scenes.
The Marcos Martinez really doesn't have time at the Rippaverse. He's coloring so much stuff, but anyway, like, yeah, like I don't know, man, like this. The story is not nearly interesting enough for if they were to swap out the artist for somebody else that looked super generic or just not good. I'd be like, nope, I'm done. Like I'm not picking this up anymore. I'm good. Like nothing so far has been inspiring. Like I'm trying to have that glimmer of hope just because I try to be a white pillar, right? Like I'm trying to have that.
I know.
I'm trying to have that glimmer of hope that there's going to be something interesting that wraps this arc that keeps me around for more. But at the end of the day, that's on them, not on me. I'm a Spider-Man fan through and through, and I've been reading this crap since I was a fetus. So I know what good Spider-Man comic books look like, and I know what bad Spider-Man comic books look like. And right now, we're kind of like teetering on the edge of that really bad Spider-Man comic book, as we have been for a really long time. It feels like parts of it feel like it's trying to crawl out from really awful Spider-Man, which is what we had with Zeb Wells. Yeah. And however, it's doing so under like 10 times Earth gravity. and so it's just like failing at a lot of turns. And so I don't know, man. I hope it gets better. I really do. Like I'll pick up issue 3. I'll pick up issue 3 as long as it's still Pepe on the interiors. I will pick up issue 3 and I'll see where it goes and I will give it a fair shake. However, if at the end of issue 3 we find out that this story is also not only going downhill further than it already has, but on top of that, like we're gonna have a guest artist next issue, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm good, man. I'm just gonna look forward to Ultimate.
Now I only want it to happen because I also just want it. Like, because I hear
it's
that,
one less issue for me to buy.
Well, there's that, but I also like just the joy that I get from when our bad predictions come right, because they never just come right, they come right Super Saiyan 4 level, right? So you're getting a guest artist, but it is like it's Gapucci with Martin and like Greg Land, right? Like that's artist.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
Greg
like,
Land's on all the covers, and oh, freaking hell, man!
But so like I agree with you on your read there. The only thing I will add is I actually don't know how much better we're gonna get after this, because if you remember the big pull, and they've been advertising it all this week, is that Hellgate dude. that the new like, oh,
that
I'm
could not give one piss about.
For those of you who don't remember, it is I don't have the issue on hand right now, but I am talking about the big knight looking guy that we were introduced to actually like a couple issues ago as like a tease, but then he showed up last issue. It's really stupid. I'm not excited for it. The only thing I would really add, or I want to note, is we are retreading Spider-Man stories so hard here that not only was last issue like in almost like shot for shot remake of that Brand New Day issue, but I was thinking about Hellgate earlier today, Andrew, and Hellgate is an ancient, big, bulky, like god force that randomly got unearthed and excavated by scientists and now is going to have a supernatural vendetta against Spider-Man. Hecate,
for what reason?
Or we don't exactly. Who cares? But
I don't care.
But Ruben, the like Paul's dad, the villain from the Wells arc that like, you know, destroyed that other world and all that fun stuff. He was a very big ancient godhead that got excavated by a bunch of scientists and decided to have a vendetta against Spider-Man. It is the exact same fucking villain, and I'm just like, if for all the exhaustion we have with the X-Men thing, this is like Spider-Man it's all, I would almost argue
Amazing
worse.
Spider-Man's no better.
I would almost argue worse, man. At least
might be.
At least Simone is on Uncanny. There's no
at least Simone's on Uncanny and Peakman is on Ultimate. That's what matters right now.
My comparison was going to be keeping it in the 616 is like, so you've got, you know, mid-K on X-Men, but you've got Gale on Uncanny. Here you've got you know, whatever's going on in Amazing. I'm not going to put that fully on Kelly. I'm going to, you know, put the co-author for Lowe and Brevoort and all them. But then you go, okay, well, where can I look for that character in another book that's being published? Good luck with Spectacular Spider-Man. Like, that's what I mean. Like, that
was a mid book at its best.
It hasn't got any like better. But
not surprised.
Instead of going into just how bad that book has gotten, instead of you know, keeping everybody here with the little fun fact that I wanted to share with you about that book, I can do that while we say goodbye behind the scenes. I can do that when I talk to you later. But right now, I think this is a good spot for us to sign off, say goodnight. We basically hit all the books we wanted to this week, guys. We were surprisingly very, very good about hitting everything. I think the one thing we didn't really touch on was Eddie Brock Carnage #3, but, you know, quick hit, still very, very good, still very, very intriguing.
It's still solid. Not a heck of a lot happens, just a little. We see some more mind games between Eddie and Carnage, and that's it. And it was enough for me to be like, okay, well, I'm looking forward to the next issue.
Exactly.
But nothing that's like, oh man, this was a great book. I can't wait to talk about it. It's just, it's interesting, and it's certainly not what we feared right now.
Yes,
that's all I can really say about it.
I think that would have been the big takeaway of the discussion anyway, is that solid book, definitely subverted our expectations in the right way, in a good way. And yeah, we will obviously keep you guys updated on that book, on every other book we read here, whether it is quick hits on something like X-Men or deep dives into Justice League, Superman, Spider-Man. We will always, you know, bring them back up. You will know if we've dropped a book. So far, really only one book has gotten our complete disdain, and we only bring that book up now to see how Andrew feels about saving money every month. But with that, guys, there is no torture. I have no exceptional torture for Andrew this week. Thank goodness for all of us. So I think this is a good spot for us to say goodnight, say goodbye, sign on off. Andrew, what do you want to say? Whoa. Holy, what do you want to say to the good people while I see if my balls have finally dropped?
I think the only thing that I want to say is thank you everybody who's been supporting all the constant Rippaverse drops that we've had recently. Tomorrow is the final day to pre-order Great War Separation #2. That pre-order window closes down at 11 p.m. Central, so check that out. It's fantastic. There are some characters that are introduced there that mean quite a bit to me for various reasons, and you'll see those reasons in coming months. Thank you for supporting Horseman #2, which is already
Prince. Okay, he's just being... No, I'm kidding.
Horseman #1. Horseman's first issue of his ongoing now because of how much you guys supported the graphic novel one shot. That's already over 200 grand after a week. or a little 2 weeks, whatever it is, like 100 grand a week. That's pretty damn good.
173,970. So you're at
that's right.
Essentially 174,000, but this is probably not up to date.
Great War 2 is what just crossed 200 grand. That's what it is. That is not
even updated yet.
Yeah, that's not accurate on that page. Because for whatever reason on our websites it doesn't show accurate numbers unless you're signed in. But
so like,
anyway, thank you everybody. Thank you everybody who is supporting all of these. Oh yeah, Horseman number 1 it's over 209,000.
Nice.
So yeah, fantastic success. You guys clearly love Chuck Dixon writing gritty, brutal street level heroes because he's kind of good at that. He kind of cut his teeth on it. Yeah, you guys are all awesome, and thanks for hanging out with us as you do every week. Mav will be back next week. I will not, however, I will return the following week.
Yep, absolutely, guys. Next week, as we let you guys know at the top of the show, Andrew will be out of town, so it will be a solo stream. We'll be hanging out. As always, if you haven't caught any of the last 2 we've done, I know number 2 is still down. I'm battling with NBC about it. It's completely stupid, but I'm trying to get it back up. But if you haven't seen the solo streams, I'll still be talking some comic books. We'll talk books I'm reading, specifically things Andrew and I aren't, so as to not step on any toes. So you'll get his full read on all the good stuff when he comes back. After talking some comic books, we'll probably play some comic book related video games. Right now I'm planning on it to be Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, and every other stream after that we'll finish that out and keep going, so on and so forth. So long story short, don't worry, we're still here for you. We're trying not to abandon you like we did. Look at this, 3 weeks, we're doing pretty well. We'll have a 4th next week. I don't remember. I know this is a dig on us. I don't remember the last time we made it a month straight, but hey, look at that, onward and upward. But yes, guys, until then, check out boundingintocomics.com every day for your, your accurate news, your faithful news, your non-AI written news. Gamers, if you're really looking for, information, you can come hang out with us. Aside from that, check out, are you doing your streams this weekend?
Yes, I will do.
Awesome.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to do a Saturday stream. Mary, we're not doing a normal, hypothetically speaking, over on Mary's channel. She's actually going to do a solo stream where she's unboxing a bunch of, like, she's had a bunch of people like sending her gifts and stuff like that. So she's going to do it's fantastic. And so she's going to do a solo stream over on her channel. I don't know what time yet. I'm sure she'll announce that. She'll do an unboxing for all the stuff that people have sent her in her PO box and whatnot. However, so cool. I don't know if I'm going to do a Saturday stream. I might take the afternoon to either write or just play a game by my damn self. To be honest, I still need to finish. I need to finish Xenoblade Cross Definitive Edition. I need to start Claire Obscure Expedition 33, which just dropped today and looks amazing. So yeah, I don't know yet if I'm going to stream on Saturday.
16 yet?
No, I've only gotten through the prologue on 16, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I just haven't had time. I'm like all over the place with my gaming right now.
It's okay.
But Sunday we will have the normal community night.
Awesome. So yes, guys, subscribe to Andrew on his Twitch, on his YouTube, all that fun stuff. All of the relevant links are down below, from our Twitters to Andrew's channels to my personal channel to all of the stuff that you can grab from Rippa right now. As Andrew said, tomorrow they have another launch going. I don't think you said what it was, so through Rippa Send, we are launching Yellow Flash's The Mighty Golden Patriot. So if you are a fan of like Power Rangers and Toku and like Moon Knight type storytelling and imagery, like, it's probably for you. So take a look at that. We'll be launching that at 8 a.m. tomorrow Central Time, and people have been pretty excited for it. So we'll see how it does. I think it's going to do pretty well because a lot of people have been pretty hyped. So thank you to anybody that supports that. Yeah, trailer up right now. Very solid design. Obviously, I'm a Toku boy, so I have
not heard this.
I know it's a very if only there was some sort of visual way that I liked to communicate to people that I was a Toku fan. No way whatsoever. But
not at all.
Yeah, Toku design, Yellow Flash, you know it. You've probably heard about it. You've probably heard about it by now. Go check that out if it's up your alley. Trailer up right now over on the RIPPAVERSE YouTube. And also, just a quick, didn't expect to see this, but it is also up on the RIPPAVERSE wiki.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm presuming this is not run by you guys. This is probably
It is not. No, this is entirely fan run. They are not associated in an official capacity with the RIPPAVERSE.
But you know what?
But they are very dedicated in like all the work that they do to put as much information as they can onto the website.
And
so
I mean,
good on them.
I love the dedication because you know you've got cover A, cover B.
That requires enthusiasm.
And I love this bit. Like, the content of this article pertains to a RIPPASend product. Thus, it is not canon. Yeah, don't put that kind of stuff unless you really care. So that's really, really cool. And yes, Mighty Golden Patriot up in the morning tomorrow. Wait, did you say the time? Did I miss
8 a.m. Central.
8 a.m. Central. There you go, guys. Go check it out. Go check out everything else from the RIPPAVERSE. Go subscribe to Andrew. You know where we are. You'll hear from us. Hit us up on the socials, all that fun stuff. Like, subscribe, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. You know how all the social media stuff goes. I'm really bad at this. I'm clearly vamping for the sign-off. I will see you next week. Andrew will be here in spirit. Until next time, guys, I think
God bless and Godspeed.
We will get out of here with that, and take it easy, everybody.
Never before have we had greater face a complex, rapidly changing world. Think of it a moment.
It is a world in which supersonic speeds are commonplace. It is a world that has seen the coming of the atomic bomb. It has seen the rise of the total state, the dictator, and the mass man. It is a world of new sensations, new excitements, new distractions.
So much to be learned by so many in so little time.
And I suppose you're here with no agenda, as per usual?
On the contrary, I'm here for comics.
How's your comic book collection, Brody?
Oh, it's going good, but I've been...